Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Radio.
3rd and goal. Jackson running around. Little jump pass, touchdown. Bateman, deep drop, under pressure, throws. He's got Chase again. And Chase to the 23, but a flag is thrown on this play. Looks that way, throws that way, caught. Chase, what a night. Touchdown.
Burrow takes the snap. Ravens bring blitz pressure. Burrow throws to the end zone. It's incomplete. It's incomplete. And with 38 seconds left to play, Verghese in the barn. Oh, what a wild way to end it tonight, as the Ravens will sweep the series from the Bengals and improve to 7-3.
Good morning. Welcome into Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities. We're live on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. That's DB. I'm Ravi, Lulla. What's up, DB?
What is going on?
Not too much. Just I'm pondering some very philosophical questions this morning.
Are you a philosopher?
No,
What's that?
I just play one on the radio.
Yes, I think very deeply.
I try.
I don't love the audio. It's nice and loud. It's fairly crisp, but it sounds a little hallway-y.
Our audio this morning?
As opposed to whose?
Well, I don't know. I didn't know if you meant like one of the sound clips.
Is it somebody else in here?
I didn't know. Maybe you got like a earpiece in. You're listening. You like to multitask?
Nope. I took my earpiece out.
Okay.
Oh, did I tell you I took my earpiece out at Nebraska Public Media?
No, you didn't.
Yeah. So I don't love it anyway, because the great.
They like talk in your ear?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that would be really distracting for me.
No, and he yelled twice.
Who's yelling at you?
I'm not. I love him, so I'm not. I hashtag kind. So, I checked on Severe yesterday because I want to make sure he was okay on my way to Nebraska City. Because part of me felt a little bit, because I dealt with a little bit of his symptoms in like my own household. So I know you're just gonna say color me, but color me curious.
Color me bad?
Hey, beautiful lady. No, wow. So, like I had my mic pinned to my top, and I went like this twice, and said producer was like, "Hey,
don't do that.
Stop touching your coat." That's how he said it the first time. So I was like, "Oh shoot." So the guy behind the camera, he's super cool. He had on the Steelers bomber, so I hurt him anyway. And he kind of leaned back from behind the camera, and he didn't use any words. He just was like, I was like, cool. So I said something else to Andy Kendi later, and I think I hit my coat again.
Oh, no.
And he goes, "Stop touching your coat!" Like he yelled.
Hey.
No, seriously, he yelled.
It's because you probably are like just jacking up his sound levels every time you do that.
I'm sure I was so in the wrong. There's no question. Right? Like zero question I should have been better. But I was steaming because he scared me. Right? Like,
yeah.
And I think I paused. I don't know if I did or not. It felt like I did real time. And I'm like, wow, this is I always joke with people that when you have an IFB in, it's very, very hard.
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't do it.
It's extremely difficult.
Yeah.
But that's why I love like the Josh Oka. There's just really good. So whatever. So during the break, you know me. What do you think I did during the break?
Well, you definitely took the earpiece out.
100%.
You definitely took the earpiece out, and then I'm gonna guess you moved the mic.
No.
Okay.
No. I said, "Hey, don't ever yell at me like that again." I'm serious now. Don't do that.
Yeah.
I politely took the thing off and I gave it to this engineer and I put it on the table. I didn't use it for the rest of the show. And he comes out afterwards and I'm like, "Hey man," he goes, "Relax. You'll get touched up." Man.
He touched it. He touched it.
Listen, you don't want to do that. So he kind of like he's joking, he's
Yeah.
messing with me, and he kind of like I don't know, he might have grabbed me or something like that, and like I flexed, and I said, man, I love the box. I said we should just go spar sometime. So we were joking around, signing timesheets. He showed me a shoe game. He was talking about Columbus and Ohio State. So we're jacking around. And he comes back out later and he goes, hey man, I didn't know you box. So somebody else must have put a bug in his ear.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, man, I used to produce and do the show for Top Rank, but I work with Tony Atlas.
Oh, nice.
Oh man, he had me at hello.
Yeah.
So then I was about 10 minutes late leaving because we were talking about Tony Atlas.
Talking about boxing.
I told him, I said, we're going out, man. Like, I'm going to come down. We're just going to hang out. I think he likes hole in the walls, too.
Yeah, little dive bars.
Yeah. Now,
I like a divey place every once in a while.
yeah, I'm team dive. But
Yeah.
he's like a Jaeger guy.
Oh, okay.
But apparently he's a pro, so he can pay, like, it's no big deal. It's just like, man, you having some C4s or some. I've tried something new today.
Oh, you're rocking the Izzy this morning?
Yeah, I've never had this, but do you know why I have it?
Why?
I'll give you one guess.
Zoe.
No. The flavor.
Oh, you love apple.
I just want to try it.
Yeah. I don't like apple flavored things.
Yeah, that's why we don't get along.
Yeah. Well, among other reasons.
So I'm trying some Izzy. But I'm overly concerned because it has.
How about them apples?
If I keel over, it is 100% because I drank this. Do you see the small punctures in this?
Yeah, I don't think you're supposed to.
Did somebody put a syringe in here?
I think you're supposed to drink a can once it's compromised like that, DB.
But it wasn't leaking, so I don't assume anybody put.
Let me see it.
Is that disturbing?
Those look like bite marks. Those look like little Zoe teeth.
Yeah.
Look at those things.
No, I never brought it in the house.
I know. Well, then some other kid at a grocery store bit that thing.
Do you feel like that's been compromised?
100%.
Man, here. Cheers to us.
Cheers.
Yeah, thud. Yeah, I'm gonna do it anyway.
No, that's fine. I'm just saying, like, understand you're making bad life choices. It's up to you, but yeah.
That's legit.
It smells okay. It smells a little too sour apple-y for me. What?
Okay. How was your football experience last night?
It was good. That's what I was feeling philosophical about.
So you are a philosopher?
I'm sitting here. Well, not actually. Well, actually, our guy Stephen Young actually is a philosopher.
Is he really?
Yeah, he's
not surprised. He has very broad angles when he assesses problems.
So we got two Steves in the chat this morning. We got Stephen.
Yeah.
He's a philosopher, graduated from Carleton College, 1986, with a philosophy degree.
Oh, that is incredible.
Shout out.
Not surprised.
Not even a little bit. I was surprised by how he looked. I am not surprised by that piece of information.
Carleton.
And then we got to give a shout out to our guy Steve Crooks as well. He's listening to us.
So I like him. He pops in. He used to be kind of a regular.
Yeah. He's listening to us while he's going through dialysis. Says we make it go by faster for him. So
nice.
Sometimes
he'll drop the hammer on people in here.
I like that. We need some people. We need some moderators in this chat.
Dude, it was so up until like Wednesday, it was kind of bugging me.
It was a little unhinged. Like we need somebody to, maybe we get Austin to do that. He listens to the show every morning. We need Austin to regulate the chat.
I gotta ask. I hope, you never know. Like people come in with like made up names and stuff. But where has Kobe been?
I don't know. He's back this morning.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. Because he asked me if I'm actually that jacked or is that an old picture. I go, that's an old picture.
Oh man, there he is. Yeah, they were mean to Kobe like last week.
Yeah, they bullied him a little bit. We were trying to.
And I was like, hey man,
we like Kobe.
Well, I think
so.
I don't follow it close enough to who's rational and who's not. I know like there's a couple Travises and S is completely certifiable.
Oh, Travis S is my guy.
Oh man, that dude.
Travis S is my dude.
Oh, he talks reckless to anybody in here.
Yeah, but it's like equal opportunity.
It is.
So
it is. Yeah, he's like you can't really tell.
Travis is my bougie brother, though.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
we both have some fancy tastes.
Hi, Siditi.
Yeah.
He's like the measured dude.
Yeah.
But he's funny because he's balanced too.
Yeah.
You know, he could sometimes he's one way, but he's usually level-headed.
It's pretty even keeled.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
And his login is different.
Yeah.
It's like that light blue, so it gets my attention.
It jumps out the page at you.
What are you mocking me because I did that?
A little bit.
Shane, I'm just letting you know. It started when I first got in here and he asked me why I couldn't hear, but he's on something different today.
What'd I do?
So I'm gonna need you to reel your guy in.
I'm just out here.
Surprise, surprise.
I mean, we can't get a moderator for the chat. You know Shane's not gonna moderate the actual show.
This dude, I'm not gonna put you out there, Shane, but he did have one of the greatest lines of all time this morning.
Did he?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's did he, not did he.
Yeah, I don't mess with him.
No, I don't either. But I said did he really fast, and it sounded like did he. I just want to clarify.
So the more I
It's not a pro Diddy podcast.
Yeah, but the more I'm into this deal, the more I know why I'm especially mad at him over Tupac.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a big Tupac guy.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, that's your dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough out here.
I told you he was at Westside the other day.
Tupac.
No,
was?
you're exactly right.
Yeah.
I thought he was in where?
He slid in. He wanted some gear before.
I thought he was in Brazil.
No, he was in Italy.
Italy.
Yeah.
That's my bad.
He was gonna give his coordinates to Newhouse when he was in the country, but then my guy Nada was in Milan, and what?
Was he in Italy?
He was there for like 3 weeks.
Was he there with our guy Newhouse?
No, they didn't. It didn't overlap.
Oh, okay.
So Nada's a West Side alum.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to hook Tupac up with some gear. So I was like, we'll send him through real quick, flying back out. And because he wanted to leave it with some of the Italians. So
he left it with you?
No, I sent it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Tupac shot over to.
You're the connect from the Italians.
Yeah.
Okay.
West Side gear. So Tupac came in private, took a couple pictures, got some gear. Sent him back to Italy.
Yeah.
I took some pictures. They're somewhere. I don't know where they are. But
well, he might not show up in pictures. He's got that,
No, this is real. Like I took. You think I'm playing? I'm not playing.
I don't think you're playing. I just think you're crazy.
Well,
there's a difference.
Yeah.
If you're playing, you're playing. If you're crazy, you don't always know.
By the way, I hope my neighbor's okay. There was lots of
rescue vehicles out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The car was in flames in the parking and the driveway.
So, I was doing a show one time I was doing a remote.
Yeah.
And I was parked next to a car, and all of a sudden that car burst into flames while we're doing a show.
No way.
Yeah. And so I had to run out during the next break and move my car because I was afraid it was going to explode or get something all over my car. And so probably about 30 seconds after I moved my car, I'm sprinting out there.
Yeah.
And about 30 seconds after I moved my car, that thing popped. I was like, ooh, I cut that one a little close.
Yeah. Zoe came in talking about, I heard a boom. I said, no, you didn't. I was in the bathroom. She said, go look.
Go look.
I was like, wow.
He's like,
I can't stand this little girl.
She might have heard a boom.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I hope everybody's okay out there.
Yeah, me too.
I
don't have much experience with them except for one time cookies were made and offered to take around the neighborhood. And it was the only house that politely declined. No, thank you. I was like, wow.
Maybe they're gluten-free or something,
I
don't. You never know. My mom's got a gluten allergy thing, so
She probably would have said yes and threw them away anyway. That's fine.
She would have taken them and then given them to one of us.
There you go.
But maybe they didn't have anybody to give them to. They didn't want to waste them.
Yeah.
Wanted to make sure that the cookies were. I don't know hardly any of my neighbors, which probably doesn't surprise you because I'm not always the most jovial, friendly person around.
No way. Are you serious? Sometimes you're just not fun to be around.
I mean, you wouldn't know. I'm always a pleasure.
I mean, that is the most incredible thing I've ever heard.
I'm always nice to you.
Yeah, I don't know about
just
that.
Not on the air.
This dude. Yeah. All right.
But so we moved. My wife, on the other hand, though, is very friendly. And
now that is really strange because she is very quiet.
She's not super outgoing, but she is friendly.
Oh, that's nice.
So there's a little bit of a difference there.
Yeah.
But she wanted to make cookies and stuff for the neighbors or whatever. But we moved into our house January of 2020, and it was cold. It's winter. And then 2 months later, you got COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're kind of doing the lockdown thing. You're not really interacting. So by the time that was kind of over, we'd been there for about a year, and it was like, it feels like it's too late to go introduce ourselves to the neighbors. So we just kind of been hunkering down ever since then.
Really got off to a slow start. Like when people call you by the wrong name and you wait too long to correct
it like
them.
gets away from you, and you're like, I can't tell you now that my name is not Jerome.
Speaking of which,
that's a random name. I just picked that out of the air.
Speaking of which, what time are we talking to him, Shane? What time? Because I know he's at state volleyball.
He's going to be on the phone at 9.
Normal time, just not here.
Okay.
Yeah.
You'd think I had looked at the lineup.
That's okay.
No, I'm boycotting it since it came out late yesterday.
Mine or his?
The Hurrdat Sports lineup.
Oh, gotcha.
And Shane yelled at me. And I said,
Shane, why are you yelling at people?
Because he acted like 7:25 was on purpose.
It is not optional.
No, it's usually out before we start.
And I was like, Shane, it's cool. Like, you don't have to cover. I'm not terribly upset. And he doubled down. So I'm like, I'm good. I'm
out on Shane this morning.
That's how things get done.
The retweets and everything else. I will self-sabotage for the sake of preservation. I mean, doesn't that sound like something I would do?
It 100% does.
Yeah, there you go.
And I'm going to sit here and be like, hey, DB, that's actually a little counterintuitive. Probably not super helpful. And you're going to be like, nope.
Yep.
We've got some people in the chat saying you seem a little more jovial this morning. I told them it's game day.
100%.
Yeah. I was like,
well, it's two things.
Yeah.
It's game day.
Yeah.
Then we get Coach Manning.
Yeah.
I don't know about jovial. I'm always funny. What do you guys mean?
See, that's what I told him. I tried to tell him. I go, hey.
What do you mean?
DB's always a 10.
That's not true.
10, 11, 12.
It started out with my guy Mick threatening me. I can't wait to hang out with him.
No.
Doesn't he sound like a great dude?
No, not at all.
No, that was my Columbus plug.
I
that
know.
Got me to Hyde Park.
And
he kept me safe.
He didn't keep you safe. He put you in danger.
No, he said just go in daylight.
No, here's what happened. Okay, this is a classic DB thing. Somebody puts you in a terrible spot, says one thing to make it slightly less terrible, and you're like, that's a good dude. He sent you to this place where he said, even during the daytime, you stay sober and don't walk alone.
It was a restaurant.
Hold on. Let's look at the facts objectively here and not about this guy that you like, which is fine. You can like him. We're going to lay it out here. This dude sends you to a place in Columbus that he tells you not to be alone and do not drink, even during the daytime.
Technically.
True or false? True or false?
Well, there's some truth in there and there's some fallacy. My Uber driver said don't drink.
Okay. And Mick told you not to walk alone.
And Mick told me get back after dark.
Or before dark.
Before dark.
Yeah.
And don't walk.
So he sent you to a place you shouldn't walk alone. And your Uber driver's like, hey, don't drink, bud. Like
he said don't have open containers. Don't be by yourself.
You got to stay on your P's and Q's.
He said sometimes people wind up in rivers.
Yeah. So this dude sends you to this place. Mm-hmm. And then gives you some tips to not get murdered.
Yeah.
And
that's good looking out.
No, it's good looking out to send you to a place where you don't have a high chance of being murdered.
It's like I said, he made my reservation for 5:15. I was air dapping him from far away.
He couldn't have made a reservation in a part of town where you didn't have to worry about walking alone and in the daytime.
I appreciate it.
Are there no good restaurants in places in Columbus where you're not going to get murdered?
There was a Ruth Chris Caddy Corner.
Okay. That's fine.
So it was kind of it was probably our equivalent to the old market.
No, you can walk alone at night in the old market. You're okay.
What?
I'm just saying there's a difference.
Oh.
I mean, maybe it's Columbus's equivalent of the old market, but I just want to put it out there. Like there was a time you could walk around the old market and you're like, I don't feel great here. But that's been a while. They cleaned it up a little bit, got some new places down there, keep it well patrolled. Okay. Hats off to Omaha's finest. I
saw them this morning.
Yeah, they were at the house.
Right outside.
Car blew up.
It wasn't for me, thank the Lord. Sweet baby Jesus.
I'm just saying. The guy that sends you to the part of town where you can't walk alone, maybe not looking out as much as you think he is.
He is. That's my dude.
Coming up on the show today, you mentioned our guy Mark Manning.
No, I'm gonna have to rethink my situation.
I would just give it a second thought. Just like take a minute and be like, hey, maybe he doesn't like me that much.
It's all part of the plan.
At 7:45, we're going to talk to Mark Manning, Nebraska's wrestling coach.
Pretty excited.
They get things
Who
kicked
always
off.
asks us to talk about wrestling?
Cody does some, but then there's another guy in the chat that always like, hey, talk more
okay.
Nebraska wrestling.
You
like
know what it
Joseph
is?
something?
Torty.
Yeah. So we are.
I can see it. Isn't that my man?
Yeah, you got a little bit of like the photographic where you can like recall the picture of it in your mind.
Yep.
I do that sometimes too. That's the only reason I always know where my wife's phone is when she loses it. Happens constantly. I think that's why she married me. It's because I just always know where her phone is.
That was part of the I need a phone finder.
Yeah, she's like, listen, air tags don't exist yet. I need somebody who knows where my stuff is.
Do I even ask about an air tag?
They're like these little like Apple things that like kind of you attach to your phone or whatever, so you don't you can like look it up and you can find it.
If I don't have my phone, what am I looking it up on?
You can use somebody else's phone. Like you can connect them to different devices, or if you have like an iPad or something.
Oh, that's nice.
Or you've got your nice you got your MacBook right there. You could do it down there.
Megan asked if I got this drink from Columbus. I do feel
you might have. It's compromised.
Did
Mick give you that drink?
Knock it off.
He's like, hey DB, I got you this nice Izzy.
Well, I haven't. I've only had a sip, so I think I'm still okay.
Don't worry about the state of the can. If you pass out, just make sure you're with somebody.
Yeah, I kind of noticed this.
Yeah, that's not great. We don't love it because that's not like a normal dent. Those are marks.
It did not leak, so I assume it was exit only.
That's not a foolproof philosophy, but
it's not.
Coming up at 7:45, we got Mark Manning, Nebraska wrestling coach. They start their season off tonight with Utah Valley. We'll talk to him here in a little bit. At 8, we've got our guy Tim Verghese from Inside Nebraska, as we always do. At 9, we got Mike Sautter talking NEB preps, football, volleyball. Got the whole thing going on this week.
Yeah.
And then we wrap up the show with Verz, as we always do. And man, we had some games to talk about.
This is the longest I've gone without talking to him.
Who, Verz?
Yeah, almost all week, I think.
Why'd you do that?
It wasn't intentional.
No, just busy.
Yeah, stuff going on.
You guys are.
It was just one lick on an ankle.
You guys are busy out there.
I'm sure he'll say something slick.
Oh, 100%. How come you didn't come see me? Did you go see him last week?
No.
Oh, so yeah, he's gonna be mad about that.
I did call though.
That helps.
Yeah, I can't remember why I didn't go. I think I was pressed for time.
Can I be honest here? I'm going to play a little armchair psychologist.
Yeah.
You guys have a little bit of a codependent relationship. Just a little bit. Not saying there's anything wrong with it.
Hey, what'd you mumble over there? Sound like you had a mouthful of marbles. What'd you say?
What's that?
He said, how'd the Lions play last night?
Yeah, right? Yeah, go Lions.
We simply can't do that.
And that was another poorly officiated game, though.
Yeah, it was pretty entertaining, though.
No, I loved it. It was great.
Like, it was a rare, really good Thursday night game.
Yeah. So
even if it's poorly officiated.
It's weird to be in week, is it 9? I'm just trying
10.
to get the number 7 and 2. Plus a bye. Okay, week 10.
Yeah, I think so.
And the Ravens and Bengals are done.
Playing for the year, yeah.
Yeah. They swept that.
Well, and it's rough for the Bengals, too, because they had got one early when they weren't playing well. Then they were playing well last night and didn't get it.
Still can't figure out the Ravens defense.
Yeah, and you mentioned that poor officiating on the 2-point call. That was
well, that was just one of
but that's the most obvious, like consequential one.
Yeah,
as you get probably a roughing the passer and a hold.
Oh, the one on Gesicki?
Yeah,
that
was pretty rough.
He was tackled,
and Burrow got smacked in the face after the throw.
I'm a big Burrow guy.
I love Joe Burrow.
Man, he is icy.
That's
why they call him Joe Cool.
I need the Bengals to be a little better around him, but I love Joe Burrow.
Maybe a while.
I want to get into my little philosophical discussion about that game last night because I got some questions about what Zach Taylor did. Coming up next, Hurrdat Sports Radio.
We will be back. 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 You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Radio.
Welcome back to Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities. We're live on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, here on the Pillar Exterior stage. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla, just having some interesting conversations off air.
It's not true.
I thought it was an interesting conversation.
It's not true.
That's all right.
Kellyanne agrees with you.
Yeah.
On Mick.
Because I'm right.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
I'm just saying, he may not be like actively trying to put you in harm's way. He's not looking out as much as you think
he is looking out for me. I'm going to call him.
You're telling me there's not a single restaurant in Columbus that's good to eat at.
Dude, Hyde Park, it's the steakhouse is fantastic.
Okay.
It is.
There's not a single steakhouse in Columbus in a place where you can walk at night.
I wasn't going to Ruth Chris.
That's fair.
And the place across the street was ridiculously packed.
Yeah.
But it was so much construction going on, you had to they blocked it off. It must be what's happening.
Yeah.
But it was the Lyft driver that told me somebody was shot there the night before. It wasn't Mick. Mick
didn't even tell you that somebody was shot there the night
He had
before?
already told me. He was like, hey, if you go by the tavern, just don't walk. Like the rest of all the On 3 guys went there. What? He didn't kill them.
It's like Mick didn't even tell me somebody that murdered the night before.
I'm bringing him up here. That's my dude, man. I just want to hang
That's
out with him.
fine. Maybe he's a cool guy. You're just hilarious though, because like it's not just a Mick thing. This is like with a lot of people.
It's not true. Whatever you're getting ready to say is fictitious.
You'll just be like, oh man, that guy's like mean spirited, and yeah, he sent me to this part of town where he said I couldn't walk alone, and somebody'd been murdered there the night before. And, you know, he said that I'm terrible at my job and whatever. And then he yelled at me. But I love that dude. That's my guy. He's looking out. And I'm like, what? I got what part of that story?
I feel like there's a little bit of an exaggeration going on.
I don't know.
It's because you heard me have the conversation with Coach Queen before the show. That's what it was.
No, it's every conversation I hear you have. Or every conversation you relay to me.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, man, that guy's. And listen,
did Coach Queen sound like a guy that would bring me breakfast? He didn't even bat an eye at. He didn't even say, oh, no, I'll bring it to you. He's like, yeah.
No, there's a 0% chance Coach Queen is going to bring you breakfast. But again, that's kind of my point is then you're like, oh, but that's my guy. But that's my guy.
It is.
I'll ride with him. And I take some of it with a grain of salt because you're always telling me like, oh, Ravi's so mean to me or whatever.
But that's 100% true.
Well, I don't know. I'm nice to you.
You can't even say that with a straight face. I tolerate you. Man, don't act like you weren't secretly saying, drink this.
No, I told you not to drink it. It's got teeth marks.
Okay.
It does. That looks like a tiny person bit that can. That's what it looks like.
I'm going to have to go ahead and dump this on out. Well, I'm half done, though. It's little. It's only 8 ounces.
It doesn't. Never mind. It's fine.
It's delicious, though.
I'm just saying. I take some of your stories as a little grain of salt. You always talk about how mean I am to you, and I'm not actually that mean to you off air. At least.
Queen actually is, though.
So I'm like, okay, maybe these people aren't quite as mean as he says. But then every single story you tell about, you're like, oh man, so mean spirited, just not a nice guy. Love that dude. I just don't understand.
I don't even know what to say because I feel like I just start thinking about people and there's probably a hint of truth to that. Because that's certainly Oklahoma Tyler.
100%. And listen, I love Oklahoma Tyler too, but I don't think he's mean to me.
Yeah, Tony's a little firm. Dealing.
Oh, Tony certainly is.
Verz is super Dean Blandino.
You just love surrounding yourself.
T-Phrase, super Dean Blandino. Yeah, I mean, maybe.
I might be the nicest person in your life.
No. Coach Samanji certainly mean-spirited. Coach Secore's nice.
Coach Secore is nice.
He's like too nice.
Yeah, he is nice. I like Coach Secore.
I mean, that dude had just a peacemaker.
I like surrounding myself.
I try to get him gassed up. Nope.
So maybe it's a you problem.
It always is.
maybe you just like being around people that you can get gassed up.
DJ's tough.
Yeah, I like DJ though.
He's tough.
Yeah, he's always nice to me though.
He's great heart. But yeah,
no, he could be firm. I could see that.
He could be firm. What are you, 10?
Yeah, you called Veland firm.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just using the word you use to describe your friends.
Not a lot of fun sometimes.
Still mad about poker game from 6 months ago?
He shoved the money. Relax. In his defense, though, he did play the longest.
Yeah.
That game started at like 1.
I know. I didn't show up till like 3.
Yeah.
I hopped in late.
Oh, Coach Frank.
Coach Frank is nice. I like Coach Frank.
Yeah, he called to check on me yesterday.
Look at him.
Yeah.
So maybe you got some nice people in your life.
A few.
A couple of them.
Yeah, 1 or 2.
I mean, excluding present company.
I know one guy I couldn't ride with.
Who?
Mike Thomas. I'm out on that guy.
Are you riding with Zach Taylor going for 2?
Yes.
Just because they couldn't stop him?
Yeah. So Zach Taylor's interesting because I think he's one of those guys we overlook once he got a good quarterback.
Yeah. Because he was in trouble until he did.
Yeah. I mean, people
talk
about in-game management, and I mean, he got Burrow, and it's like, oh, man, we love Zach.
Yeah.
And I like Zach because I just like him as a person, but he wasn't without scrutiny.
Yeah, he was in trouble before Burrow showed up.
Yeah.
And not totally different from Andy Reid. Some of the criticism.
So you didn't. They just saw what
I'm not.
what Mahomes did.
I'm not saying I don't think he should have gone for 2. I just think it's a really interesting spot, right? Because that's not a situation where, like, the extra point, you go to overtime, and basically you're saying, okay, if
they couldn't stop a nosebleed though.
Right, but it's not guaranteed the Ravens get the ball either. So you're basically saying, hey, I don't want the 50-50 shot that they get the ball first.
Your boy's going for 2. I want that game over.
That's fair.
Hey, do you know this whole time I thought Joseph could have been a bot?
Who?
But he's actually talking like a regular person now.
Oh, yeah, our wrestling guy?
Yeah, because did you see what the first thing he said was? It's what he always says.
Hey, talk more wrestling?
Yes. No, cover wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
But this is actually a conversation he's having.
Yeah, he's talking to people. Look at him. I always kind of assumed he was a real person.
No, I know he is.
But
he's very consistent.
Yeah, he is. He stays on it. That's about the only thing that he
Zach
talks about.
Zach is back engaged.
We got Kobe in.
Kobe's in.
Yeah.
I don't know why I was worried about Kobe.
That
was an exceptionally mean-spirited day, though. It was a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I think it was coming off.
Was it Indiana?
No, I think it was coming off of. Yeah, you're right. It was Indiana.
Yeah,
coming off Indiana.
That thing was off the chain.
Yeah, people were feeling.
I mean, we're on about 3 weeks. I mean, we got some fake people. I mean, we got Becky and Game Dog and.
Yeah, we got some people in there that
Captain is sometimey. Sometimes he's cool. Sometimes he's not. You know,
call him sometimey.
Yeah. I mean, it's human nature.
Kobe wants Zach Taylor to come be the OC at Nebraska.
Hey, we're on that tough, aren't we?
That may not be a promotion. Head coach of the NFL.
Are you looking at some of the coordinators in the Big Ten though?
Yeah.
Fudge. But it's a tough league.
It is a tough league. It's a tough place to get a living.
It is a tough league,
especially for offensive coordinators. It's a tough place to make a living.
Oh yeah,
it's grimy. You're not going to put up a lot of sexy numbers.
No, not over time. I don't think.
Probably not. But I mean, Iowa's putting up points now.
Yeah, they got a case of the Sullivans. Well, again, anytime you can hand the ball off to a guy that's 50% of your offense,
that does help a lot.
Yeah.
Nebraska should get them one of those.
Who has one of the sweetest run styles ever. Somebody asked me a question at Nebraska City that I think was pretty fantastic. She said, how come nobody ever talks about Coach Barthel and his relationship with the offensive coordinator? And I paused and I said, that's a great question. No one has ever asked me that before.
Yeah.
No one has ever asked me that before. In 3 or 2 years.
That is a good question.
Yeah, she's a big special teams person.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Kicking game drives her nuts. Smart as a whip, though.
Did you have a good answer for
her? So it was a 2-parter. I can't remember exactly how she phrased the first one, but the second one was, does there seem to be a disconnect? And my answer to that was yes.
Yeah, I think there's a disconnect on offense.
Yeah.
Probably not just between.
And there was this
Barthel and
silence, like I was going to spill the tea, but there was no real tea. It's just.
No, you're just observing. It looks like there's a disconnect.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say there's a disconnect between.
Well, anytime somebody says, hey, I have to remind myself or I got to run the ball more, and you have a running backs coach that coaches running backs, and his running backs are maligned, I mean.
Yeah, there's probably a disconnect.
Natural.
I'd say there's a disconnect philosophically right now between what Coach Rule wants and what Coach Sat's been calling. I would say there's a disconnect between the wide receivers coach and the offensive coordinator. I think there's a couple disconnects on offense.
Right.
That's how you end up with an offense that hasn't been very good.
Connect 4.
Coming up next, a team that we think is going to be very good this year, Nebraska Wrestling. We'll have Mark Manning, their head coach, right now.
We will be back. will be back. We will be back. We will be back. You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Radio.
We're back here on Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities. We're live on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here on the Pillar Exterior stage as we wait for our guy, Coach Manning, to give us a call. I want to remind you to get out to Union Omaha tomorrow for that semifinal match. They've got at 4 p.m. here at Werner Park with an opportunity to go play for the USL League One Championship. UnionOmaha.com is where you get the tickets, and you can be a part of watching, hopefully, a historic playoff run for Union Omaha. DB.
See, Ryan knows too gosh darn much.
That's why it's funny.
That's what his problem is.
Because he is basically speaking in your exact voice.
Yeah. Why don't you tell on yourself and explain the conversation that we had for 30 minutes yesterday about going to a random spot for dinner? And I told you, because he asked me and that was my guy, I wasn't going to ask questions.
Yeah, I still think you should ask follow-up questions.
It's fine.
Like, if somebody says, hey, we're going to go to this restaurant or whatever, I'm like, oh, hey, what's the name of it? And I leave it at that. Because I just went, I'm curious. I might look at the menu beforehand, whatever. He tells me like, oh, yeah, we got to go to some condo in the Haymarket. I got a lot of follow-up questions. Who's this condo belong to? How do you know this person?
It's not important.
It is a little important.
It's not important.
This is probably.
Not these people think I'm on mushroom. There's a lot of out of context things going on right now on social media. I feel like I'm being misrepresented.
This is why maybe your Uber driver kind of got the vibe that was like, oh, if I don't give this guy some warnings, he's going to end up in a river.
So there's probably something to that because he looked exactly like Carl Winslow from Family Matters.
Okay.
He did. That's who he
That's the dad, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I didn't know him well enough to yuck it up.
Yeah.
But he did say some funny things.
Yeah.
So I was like, ooh, do I go here? But then I don't. Then I didn't because I was like, man.
I'm just saying, maybe he got the vibe from it that's like, okay, this guy's maybe a little too trusting, not asking enough questions about his surroundings. I'm going to give him a heads up here.
I want you to know I know what you're doing.
What am I doing?
And I'm not going to stand for this.
What am I doing?
I feel like I'm being painted here.
No.
Yep.
I just think maybe that you're not as paranoid as I am, which is probably good.
It's fine.
But sometimes there's like a small level of paranoia that's useful. You know?
Yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. It's fine.
You might get thrown off that bridge. That's what I'm worried about.
I'm not finishing my drink, so I'm paranoid enough.
You're definitely gonna finish your drink.
I'm not.
You're
this is, and my hand smells like apple, so it may have been leaking.
Yeah, I think it was leaking.
It's fine.
It's
let's move on before I fall over.
We got to get to our guy, Coach Manning of Nebraska Wrestling. Coach, thanks so much for joining us this morning. How are you?
Hey, doing well, man. Thanks for having us on.
Coach, one of the best in the business. How have you been, man? It's been a little while.
Yeah. I saw you on the sidelines there a few games ago, and yeah, it has. We haven't caught up for a while. But,
it's funny because I saw you from afar, and I told Ben, I go, he still has the greatest hair going. I wonder, like, he's got kids in high school now. How is he not more stressed? Like, the wrestling coaching part is easy. Kids in high school is traumatizing.
Well, so that's why the hair is white. It's because the kids, right? You still got it.
I'm
but
like, man, I'm jealous. You look fantastic. So you must be feeling good.
Yeah. I have a good wife, and yes, it life's going well, but busy.
Yeah,
very busy.
Well, when the football team's not trying to borrow you for positive morale, you and Coach Rule, he thinks the world of you, man. There's some similarities in your guys' personality. It's been pretty cool.
Yeah, he's I know people are not completely happy right now, but he's doing a great job, and building the program at the level that he's trying to is super hard, and there's a lot of peaks and valleys, and think 2 weeks ago we were a play or two away from beating Ohio State at their place, which that would have been the biggest upset in college football. And so getting his team to perform at a consistent rate is it's not easy to do.
You definitely know a thing or two about building a program.
Yeah, Coach, I got to ask you, because you talked about in your press conference a couple days ago how kind of your philosophy about building a program, as DB said, there's some similarities there with you and Coach Rule. Like, how did you kind of arrive to that? Because it's easy to say now when you're winning and you're really successful to be like, oh, I just want them to be good guys when they leave the program. But, like, you got to get to that point where you can say things like that. Like, how did you arrive to the point where that was the most important thing to you?
Yeah, well, great question. 24 years ago when I got here, I took over a probation program, and I was minus 2 scholarships. Yep. There was infraction had gone on, so I did not take over a pretty situation. It was very negative, and so really hard to recruit, and really there's just a lot of negativity around our program. So, just did it one guy at a time, man. One guy at a time, and then tried to change the mentality. And Brian Schneider was a junior in college then. He was, he was a big part of our team. And Todd Beckerman, I remember those times of just getting where convincing the leaders of your team how to do it right, and then the others will fall. And it's just a process. And hey, I would love for the football team to be 9-0 right now, but I know that's just unrealistic. It's everyone else is trying too.
Yeah. And that leads me to like, as you get going tonight against Utah Valley, and You schedule tough in a tough conference, and it'll be Campbell and then Carolina, and I think you got the Classic and the Cliff King. Like, you kind of grown this thing to where you know how you want to structure it to get that season rolling before the gauntlet known as the Big Ten Conference, right?
Yes. Yeah. There's some happy medium to it. And you have to, challenge your guys on a not only a daily basis, but then they have to be great competitors. And so I told our team, hey, 2 questions for you. One, are you willing to give 100% in your preparation, in your practice, right? Giving 100%. Well, what's all that mean? Well, it's not just words. It's, hey, are you mentally ready for practice? Are you mentally ready to make corrections, right? And then, are you 100% ready to, when you put your foot on the line, give 100% on game day? And so, I think, we're all trying to develop competitors and to bring out the best in them. And competition game day is exciting. It's nervous. It's anxiousness, but also it's exciting. This is when they get to show off all their work they've done in the off season and what they're about. So it's fun. You got to make it fun to compete, and you got to be a showman a little bit. People, especially in wrestling, it's one-on-one. But
yeah.
I would say football field or the basketball court or a volleyball court, you step up and you show people what you're about.
Coach, you are super experienced. How important will, like, the weight, like reclassifying for some guys, higher, lower, the wrestle-offs, like depth is a good thing, but you have some grade A bona fide competition under your own roof. I'm looking at 125, and I'm like, best wishes sorting through that especially with such good experience too.
Absolutely. We've recruited the right kids, and we're signing 5 guys next Wednesday. We can't
incredible.
tell everyone in the world right now, but 5 really super great kids, and the guys we have in our room, we're really super impressed by them. And you wrestle offs and getting down to weight is just hard for you. If you just kind of have to get in wrestling mode. It's like Caleb Smith you mentioned and Cale Lawrence, and Cale's going to be a stud, and we have another young man, Alan Kaler, at that weight class. Both are young guys, young freshmen, and Caleb has a hard time getting down to 125. And so making weight the first time you haven't made weight since last March, it's a different thing. Weight cutting sport, man. It's but you have to kind of go through those times of getting your body used to it and not feeling great. And I knew going into that match on last Saturday that it was either going to be 1 point one way or the other.
Yeah.
So I wasn't shocked. I know what Cale's about. He's really tough, and Caleb's going to do great this year, and he's feeling better this week, and that's just part of a weight cutting sport. Is you have to just get your body used to it, and in a short amount of time.
Coach, we'll get you out of here on this. I gotta say, I'm kind of fascinated by Ridge Lovett and kind of his storyline coming into this season. Obviously, was great last year. Wins the Big Ten, #1 heading into nationals, cruises into the semifinals, and then loses to a guy that he's already beaten that year. Like, how as a coach do you get him to a place to elevate after he was so successful last year?
He's got to go through it match by match again.
Did not end like he can't skip any steps this year. Like, how do you help him there?
Yeah, it just growing from that situation and those moments, and it's just maturity. It's just, you talk a lot about, people talk about mental toughness, and that's mental toughness. So you have to be, you have to be better in those moments and learn from that moment. What was holding him back, not sure what was going through his head right then. And we just all felt bad for Ridge, because I think he was really, he had a chance to be a 2-time national champion, but let's just focus on getting him one, right?
Yeah.
And it's hard to do. It's hard to do. You got to be healthy. You got to be, you got to be on, and those are just teachable moments. And that's, that's sports. That's why we do it. The highest highs and the lowest lows, and you learn and grow from it. And then at the end of the day, hey, you're going to be a better person because of it. Why it happened, I'm not sure. But my faith tells me that I believe in that guy, and I believe God put him on our team for a reason. So he's a great leader.
Coach, I follow you guys close. I love them all, but I'm not going to kid you. If there's a wrestler that kind of fits my temperament that I'm excited for, it's Pinto. He's explosive, and you don't quite know what you're going to get. It sounds a little like me, but he's competitive. I'm pretty excited to watch these guys this year.
Yes, with Antrell Taylor at 157.
There's another one of my faves.
Oh my gosh, Antrell, he's man, super excited where this guy's going to go.
Coach, wishing you the best, man. It's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, it's great. We're looking for the Italian stallion Lenny Pinto to be down at that fighting weight.
I appreciate
Coach,
it.
Thanks
Coach.
so much for your time. We appreciate it. Good luck tonight as you kick your season off.
Thanks, guys. Go Huskers.
Appreciate it.
That's head wrestling coach Mark Manning from Nebraska. We'll be back with Tim Verghese inside Nebraska.
We will be back. We will be back. You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Radio.
Kicking off hour number 2 here on Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. We are joined now by our guy, Tim Verghese from inside Nebraska. Tim, what's going on, man? Do we have Tim?
We do now. We're trying to. He's having some issues.
Okay, we will talk to Tim here in a second. I think we might be having some internet issues.
Oh, man. Shane is wild.
Surprise. He's like, hey, Tim's ready. We don't have Tim.
Psych.
We don't have Tim.
They stopped saying that in the 80s, Shane. Or was it the 90s? When they stopped saying
Psych was a 90s thing, I think.
How would
remember.
How would you know?
I was alive in the 90s.
Barely.
No. I was a full 13 by the time the 90s ended. By the time they ended. I remember people saying psych. It was still a thing when I was a kid in the 90s.
All right.
It was still a thing.
My bad.
It's not, I'm not like Tim. I'm not like 19 years old over here having
covering all these big time programs. It's just a pump. TV, what's up, buddy?
Hey, not too much. Sorry about the delay.
No, you're good.
It's all good. It was as likely our fault as it was yours. Our internet is a little suspect, much like DB's Choice and Friends, but that's okay.
Full disclosure, Tim, I've been getting ruined all morning, but you know what? It builds and reveals character. I am not paying this guy any mind. He's got like the free world kind of low-key piling on, but it's fine. I got a couple of allies in my corner.
Don't let him fool you. He's going to call me like a half hour after the show and laugh his head off about it.
I'm going to be like, I hate your guts.
And then he'll talk to you for another half hour.
That's Tim. It's game day. Safe to say I am not going to be messing around with this Yahoo once I leave.
I'm going to go to the game, and he's going to dap me up and give me a hug on the sidelines as soon as he
I
sees
tried
me.
to get him to go to Millard North to go see his own alma mater. Don't come to what we're doing.
Listen, I don't need to see that.
It might be a good game.
I'm not feeling great about it.
TV, you going to come see Lofton? What do you got tonight?
Yeah, I was at Lofton last week, so I think I'm coming to see y'all tonight. But we'll see. I might also just take the bye week and enjoy and circle back for the rest of playoffs next week.
Can I say something real quick about the Patriots? It seems like Tamala should be getting more run. Well, I watched this a long time. What am I missing?
Yeah, I that's where I'm at too, because like you watch the junior film and it's like, okay, like whatever questions there were about him, he's answering. Like a question I guess I am starting to come around on, and I can see maybe this is where schools are having some pause, is you saw it a bit last week that O-line does a really good job of protecting him, and he gets a lot of time. And so, like last week, there's a couple plays where he's standing there for 7-8 plus seconds and has all the time in the world to throw. That's the one thing I guess right now is teams don't really know how quick he can get through reads and what he would do under pressure. But at the end of the day, it's like, and you can discourage, you can talk about the weapons he's got around him and all that, but like, Keelan Russell down at Duncanville has multiple 4 or 5-star receivers and a 4-star O-line, and we've seen players in California with talented groups around them, and I get, it's a different level of dominance somewhat here so far, but turn on the film, he's answering a lot of questions. Like I think that's a guy that can play for sure at the FCS level, and even like at the group of 5 level. Just the way he pushes the ball, the athleticism, like he checks so many boxes, and yeah, I think it's just a matter of time. I think schools are going to get eyes on him this spring. He's going to get out on the camp circuit. They're going to see the film. Like I think eventually he's going to start piling up some of these offers because he certainly deserves it.
It's interesting too because at the high school level, especially locally, so I'm a little sensitive to it in the region, like this radius. It's like sometimes quarterbacks and offensive guys are a victim of 2 things that you almost always want: playing with other good players and having a good offensive line. Right? It's like these quarterbacks would come out of Bellevue West or Miller South. I mean, Wisdom clearly is very good with offense. Mm-hmm. Offense pretty good really good with all. So it's like, well, it's the system. Here, like at the collegiate level, it's like we're ruining quarterbacks because the system doesn't fit them. Like, which is it when you're looking at like this symbiotic relationship between scheme and talent? We make excuses for one and we use it to validate others. It's just weird, man. Like if guys can play, they can play.
Yeah, and it's very pick and choose. Obviously, like coming from Texas, it's like guys or schools and even analysts immediately will be like, "Oh, but the guy plays in Texas. He plays tough competition." You don't know that. Like you don't know for sure. Like week to week, he's playing tough comp. Like there's 6A at the highest level. There's 6A districts in Texas that play similar levels of competition throughout the season in their like high school divisions as like Class A teams in Nebraska. But you're going to punish a Class A kid because he plays on a loaded team in a quote unquote flyover state compared to someone that, in a big city, like in a Texas, in a Houston, in a Dallas plays with better talent. it's very pick and choose, and I think some of it's a bit antiquated. Like, at the end of the day, you're looking for traits, and when I watch Jet Tamala, I see an athletic quarterback with some bend, with some natural elasticity to his arm, some bounce because of his basketball background, can move the pocket around, can command the offense, can push the ball downfield, can throw it sideline to sideline, can throw it at all three levels. Like, he does so many of the quarterback things you want. And if the only, like, right now, I would send him to USF right now. Like, he already is basically running that spread Tennessee scheme. Send him to Alex Golesh. Like Alex Golesh should be all over this guy.
That's really good stuff there, Tim. Wanted to ask you, and speaking of scheme, obviously the big story of the week for the bye week for Nebraska was bringing in Dana Holgorsen. Are you, I guess, don't want to taint your opinion at all, or with a leading question here. How did you process that information in real time in terms of what you thought he would be able to bring to Nebraska?
More than anything, like the way me and Steve kind of talked about it when the news first broke was at the end of the day, Nebraska needs to be able to put up more points, and Dana Holgorsen's had success putting up points. There's been times when he's had a good quarterback that he's putting up, these world-beating offenses and playing good balanced football. And then there's times where he kind of comes back, and even him, quote unquote, coming back down to earth is still a better than average offense that's putting up points. So. More than anything, I think where I'm at is I don't know exactly how much of an impact he'll have over these next 3 games, but I do know at the very least he can help sequence some of these plays together, help the offense get a better feel for situations, and maybe even add some wrinkles and help Nebraska get into some layup type situations where they have some easy answers, and they can give kind of Dylan this additional. We've talked about the Rolodex. An additional Rolodex of, hey, you see this look pre-snap, change to this. You see this pre-snap, change to this. Like little tweaks that give the offense something to fall back on.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think with Coach Rule, clearly none of this happens by accident. And I think it's interesting, if nothing else ironic, that the background of Coach Holgorsen is with wide receivers to start. He clearly understands offense. And with Phil Snow, it's his experience with secondary and kind of how that goes. Tutelage is one thing, teaching is another, but just simply having guidance, I think, can be a really good thing with a fresh set of eyes. That's kind of how I look at both these, at least temporary additions.
Yeah, and that's the thing offensively. I think I've kind of said this too, and it's like I understand like there are bigger picture issues with the offensive identity and stuff like that. But I mean, week after week, there's some obviously discouraging stuff from Marcus Satterfield, but the plays are there. There are successful plays in the playbook. It's, for me, the issue has always been the sequencing of it, which is the same thing going back to Scott Frost. Like it's more so how you build plays off each other and how you sequence and drive together. I don't think Nebraska does a very good job of that right now. And that's where, having an outside voice can come in and help, kind of figure some of that out and give you some guidance on, okay, you're in this situation on first down, you put yourself in this situation on second down, here's how you respond. And then, like just giving some additional advice and having a better set of eyes. I think ultimately it'll help, but we won't find out until we see it on the field, because I do want to see exactly how much of an impact he's having on the offense right now.
Tim, do you think that I know people have been sort of freaking out a little bit about, Coach Rule says we want to run the ball, then we bring in an air raid guy, and people, all that narrative. But do you think the air raid concept, some of those quick hitters, could be used as sort of some variations on those hot reads, on those blitzes? Because that's been a big issue, especially in the last couple of games. People been heating up Dylan. And seems like the only check with me that ever gets called or that he goes to is sort of that horizontal passing game to the outside to the receivers. Do you think Holgorsen might be able to help out with some of that, considering all the quick hitter concepts that those offenses typically have?
Yeah, absolutely. You would think so. You would hope so. And you look at, that's my biggest issue right now with Dylan, and that is not being able to take the hots and not having the hots really available. I noticed it last game, and it's been kind of that for a couple of games now. maybe it's the way Nebraska's designing it or what, but like it always feels like the hot or the check down route is to the weak side of the field. It's the running back releasing to the flat, and it's the last read Dylan has to come back to. Like, it's a tough throw to make, and it's one he made early in the year and then feel like the offense was like, okay, well, if he can make that throw, let's just keep that as the check down. That's not an easy throw. It's not one of those things that he has to take a quick glance, throw it across his body, across the field. If there's a quarterback that's willing to jump, he can jump that and house that pretty easily. So you need more hot routes. You need more like answers offensively. And yeah, like you're saying with Dana, like maybe people make stuff about the run game too. Like, go look at his numbers. Go look at the guys that have run for him. He's had a 1,400 rusher before. He's had multiple 1,000-yard rushes before. He's closer to 60-40 pass to run, but I don't think necessarily shifting to that's the worst thing in the world. Like, you have a quarterback that can push the ball downfield. You do have a stable of backs that can carry that type of load. And when you look at the offenses that are having success in the Big Ten right now, with the exception of Michigan in recent years, every other really successful offense in this conference, Indiana, Oregon, Ohio State, Penn State, they're all running a version of what Dana Holgorsen is running.
Tim, I got a question, and this is one of those where I'm supposed to be the guy because I've done it, but I want a different set of eyes, right? See, it's real life practical
perspective
application. TV, I got to talk running backs here because I know I used to joke about it, but clearly it's a thing, right? I'm like, we don't like the running backs and we're this, they're that. How much do you, like from the 30,000 foot view, how much do you think you talk about like a feature guy or the guy or a guy? How much of it do you think do you look for styles to complement plays being called?
Yeah. I mean, in this day, like, I think what you're finding is it's real hard to find.
Do you look at a guy and you're like, oh, he's a gap scheme guy, or oh, he's a power guy. He's a like. Do you
right? Yeah. You're looking for those guys now. Like, that's my thing. Like I look at backs now and I'm like, okay, well, you look at him in high school and you watch him run and you're like, okay, well, this guy does a better job of reading through blocks. This guy doesn't. This guy has smoother hips that can bounce in and out, on these like, yeah, you're looking for guys that can run differently. And yeah, like, I mean, Dante Dowdle's one of those guys. Doesn't do a great job of reading, but if it's just downhill runs with an open read, he's got it. You know what I mean? Like, when he's got a runway, he can cook. And then you see a guy like Ramir and Emmett, who, like, Ramir and Emmett specifically, I think is a bit scheme proof. Ramir, is more of that that zone read type or zone scheme type back. Styles make everything right now. And I think what you're realizing too is, and I think Nebraska's doing a good job of this, Bartel's doing a good job of this looking ahead to 26 and 27, is building out the board with different types of backs that do different things well. So you have these guys for whatever, because right now, I think a lesson that a lot of teams are learning is finding that bell cow back is so difficult. And when you have that guy, you got to hold, like, the two that come to mind right now, Ashton Genty and Caleb Johnson at Iowa. Both those guys weren't highly pursued prospects out of high school. Both those guys weren't world beaters in high school. They just happened to have success in the scheme and have continued to improve to the point that they are, and now they are future NFL backs. You have to get lucky sometimes. Louisville right now has a freshman in Isaac Brown. That there was a time Nebraska was sniffing around that recruitment. They just happened to get lucky with that guy that fits the scheme really well and has had some success. For some guys, it just takes clicking in a scheme now. And that's kind of what I've realized with backs is sometimes a guy like doesn't really look all that like dangerous coming out of high school. And then he gets into a scheme that better fits his running style. And all of a sudden it's like, hey, he looks faster than he ever did out of high school with the ball in his hands.
Tim, somebody asked DB a good question about, whether he felt there was a disconnect between the running backs coach and the offensive coordinator. I kind of want to take that a step further because a couple years ago, we saw this disconnect between the offensive coordinator in Mark Whipple and the offensive line coach in Donnie Raiola. Do you think part of what we're seeing, whether it's the struggles in the running game or the struggles with the offense in general, has to do with, hey, this individual unit is actually being coached well and they could do the right thing, but either the plays that are being called for the certain running backs or the plays that are being called for what the offensive line is good at aren't quite meshing up the way they need to truly have a coherent offense?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I mean, I think if you were to put EJ Bartel, like you put some truth serum into him, I think he'd want a lot more under center looks, a lot more I formation looks. And
I agree. I completely agree with that. That's smart.
Especially with who he's got in the backfield right now. Like, I think he wants more of that. And I think, again, like if you're looking at Nebraska right now too, they may not have the line necessarily to hold up for it, but that's kind of a way, like hypothetically, if you were just to look at the pieces on this roster and say, hey, how do you build an offense out of this early on? Under center looks is the way to go. You like, with some of these wide receivers that can win some of these one-on-one matchups deep, with some of these big receivers that can stretch the field downfield, with the speed you have in Ja'Cory Barney and Jalen Lloyd and Isaiah Nair, and some of the tight ends you have that can do stuff in the passing game. Like, you would have thought before the season, or at least I would have thought before the season, we would have seen more under center looks.
Tim, if you're looking at the complementary stuff like edge run game versus downhill, all the things that we talked about, right? Power, counter, and then you look at what's happening on the perimeter. Do you feel like you would be? Is there a way or like a style that you would run, that you would use to run the ball that you think plays to your strengths?
Yeah, like, I'm not sure. Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Do you use Bonner more? Do you use Bork? Like, I'm just trying to figure out, because your coach has said, hey, listen, perimeter blocking has been a problem.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a problem all year. He said it multiple weeks in a row. Can we get away from perimeter run game and still be okay? Because then I only asked the question because you talked about getting underneath center, two back looks, downhill. I mean, that may have to be the answer in the short term.
Instead of pushing the edges, like push the seam, like run directly between the B gaps, run directly between the C gaps. And when you're getting outside, instead of pushing it all the way out to the sideline, because your receivers can't block, run up the seam. You have the alley. The alley it can be open. There's some additional yards to be had there. I'd like to see Nebraska do a little more of that. Like, and something that I think was frustrating for me was a lot of times when we've seen the team prior to this bye week, like line up under center, it's always been this like, okay, they know exactly what they're going to do. They don't have any real answers beyond what they're running out of this, but it does work. They're able to run when they have a fullback. Obviously, you don't have Liebentritt the rest of the season, but I did think they had something if they could build out more from that I formation under center look. I thought there was more to be had there that I think they left out on the table. And now, with Liebentritt not there, you don't have that true fullback in there. So everyone kind of knows what you're running when you trot out an Elijah Judy or a Ty Robinson out there.
Tim, do you like the looks where they're, and obviously I think they've only done it with Heinrich Harburg as the second back, but do you like the looks where Dowdell kind of lines up as in that fullback spot, and then they've got a second ball carrier behind him? Because, DB and I were talking earlier, if you don't have threat of QB run game, sometimes you need that extra ball carrier to keep people honest. Would you like to see more of that with a Dowdell, and then maybe whether it's Harburg or anybody else as that second back?
I should probably chart, because it's not that many plays, Tim. We should probably chart where a true running back lines up at the fullback spot.
I think Dowdell's gotten it every time. I think he's gotten the handoff every time.
I think, and maybe whether it's him or not, just charting the success of the run play.
But I think, is that something you think can be more successful in a more variety of ways than they've used it so far?
Like you're saying, I think we'd have to do, because I think they've run that play. I think if you actually were to count across the season, you could probably count on your fingers the amount of times they've run that specific look. And I've always been waiting for, like, hey, is there a counter where you fake the handoff to Dante and then you pitch it back to Heinrich, who winds up for a throw downfield? Like, I feel like that's something that you would feel is in the bag. Like, that's an answer to everything they've run so far. But I do like the handoff to Dowdell, because I think it changes up the timing a little bit for the defense too. Like, that's so much of, and DB, I know you can talk on this too, but like, so much of run game success, if you can't really block up front and you can't do it, you have to take advantage of timing. You have to take advantage of, slow mesh handoffs, or, or a quick handoff or whatever, just like something to attack them and make them a little uncomfortable, and change the timing of the defense a little bit too, and have them be like a little worried about when exactly the ball's getting to the running back.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Tim, I just still on that under center thing real quick. Do you think, because one of the things I've been sort of frustrated with is it doesn't seem like the play action pass game has been very effective. Do you think going from under center gives a little bit more pause to the defense in those play action pass looks?
Yeah, I would say so. And
State.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He got underneath center, then set, and they had shown run.
Mm-hmm.
And nope, Louisiana Bayou.
Yeah. Like that's the thing. Like it's I just wish they would do it more. Again, I think for a lot of this, it's like we're talking about it, and it's like I don't think we have enough context to necessarily talk about it because they don't run it enough. Like that's what's frustrating for me is like I'm coming out of last game too. I'm like, the answers are clearly there. You have these plays in your playbook. You know these work. And I understand for you see these as tendency breakers. But at a certain point, you got to realize the offense is running the tendency breakers better than they are like the bread and butter stuff.
Tim,
yeah.
that's pretty good. I was like, maybe your tendency breakers are your bread and butter, and you don't realize it. Tim, we appreciate the time as always, and we will talk to you again next week.
Good stuff. See you tonight, TV, potentially.
Yes, sir. See you. Good luck.
Yeah, he's dead on. I'm going to tell you something. Team we're playing tonight is a perfect example.
Right. Of the tendency breakers?
Yes. Right. So sometimes I think we watch things and we're like, oh, they're just running it here and this is all that happens. So it's easy to blame offensive line. Like they run a version of gut. They run some false influence. They hit us with trap the first time we played them. And they have like inside zone. It's all run game, but you have to defend it differently.
Yeah.
Right. Zone, you want to use penetration with your D line. Right? Like sometimes with gap scheme or when they trap you, it's back to your base fundamental rules, right? His head gets down, I got to get down. How to play pullers. Do you want a wrong shoulder? We work inside run game probably in total of a like let's say it's a 4-day work week, whether we're in pads or no pads, it's well over an hour.
Yeah.
Right? It's a 15 minutes. It's well over an hour. Like if we actually did the time. And people will just look and they'll say, oh, you just have to stop the run. You get good offensive minds like this that can utilize line schemes. It's hard.
Yeah, because stopping the run is not one thing. It's 8 things.
Even just yesterday, we said, hey, do you think how confident are we to get lined up correctly to this? Because you're trying to do different things to stop what they do. And it's like they killed us on a tendency breaker.
Yeah.
They used wham. We hadn't seen it before. And it was like, holy smokes.
Yeah.
Now it's like, are they coming back to this? Will they get into it's hard. It's not just stopping the run.
Yeah.
The schemes matter.
100%. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. We'll be back with more Hurrdat Sports Radio coming up next.
We will be back. We will be back. We will be back. We will be back. You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Radio.
We're halfway through the show here on Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities. We're live on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla, reminding you, make sure you get out to Baxter Arena tonight and tomorrow for Omaha Hockey, where you can get the Omaha Hockey yearbooks created by your fine folks here at Hurrdat Sports. Make sure you go check out the table with Hurrdat Sports to go purchase one of your Omaha Hockey yearbooks. DB.
We could have Bill on for a hockey segment.
We could have Bill on
and
for a
we could do
segment.
hockey and leadership all in the same segment.
We could just wrap it all into one. He might be, I think he's probably the biggest Omaha hockey fan I know.
Yeah, it's up there.
I know a couple kind of super fans.
It's close.
But
I have a couple of old schools.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I mean like pro Team Kemper guys.
Oh, okay.
Like,
yeah.
I used to be like, it was the thing.
Yeah.
For a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
going all the way back to milk jugs.
You're talking
old arena. No, listen.
I know.
No, I know. I'm like, you guys are nuts.
I'm nuts.
That's my wheelhouse right there.
Yeah. I'm talking to my man Ron in the stream. I gave him a couple of dark horses in hockey since Ravi didn't want to take my.
I did. They're my Winnipeg Jets.
I gave you a gift, absolute gift before the season even started.
Hey,
DB, I want to get into hockey this year.
My Winnipeg Jets.
Ravi, I know your personality. You're a little loose. You like offense. You're going to like the Winnipeg Jets. They're much better offensively.
They're my squad.
Well, you have to learn to say Hellebuck first.
Hellebuck?
It's their goalkeeper.
Nailed it.
Shane, it's early, I know, and two of these teams aren't off to a good start.
It's early. You know I can't say that.
They're not off to a good start, but I'm telling you they're going to be a thorn. The Buffalo Sabres and the Utah Hockey Club. They and my other one is the Caps, and people think, oh, the Caps are supposed to be. Nah, they're not. This isn't your mom's Ovi.
This isn't
matter of fact, Ravi,
Yeah.
on my underdog higher lower daily fantasy,
Yeah.
your boy, me,
Your boy?
who, by the way, 2 out of 4, loser.
I'll say that's the best you've done, which is not great.
Wait, hey. We don't need to be sharing all that I'm not good at this.
It's still fun, though.
You can't help yourself, can you? Do you like my 2 for 7 day? That was spectacular.
That was a little rough.
Full disclosure, I'm not a daily. I'm learning.
You are learning. It's fun, though.
I'm like, hey,
We're having a good time with it.
what does this mean?
No. It's all right. I'm educating you on the fly, just like I normally do.
So last night it was over, or 2 nights ago it was over in a hurry because I took Tatum 8 points in the first quarter.
Yeah, he did not get that.
Yeah, he was 1 of 6 against the Warriors with 5.
I could have warned you. Warriors are D'ing up this year, baby.
Yeah, knock it off. But anyway,
Watch out for Buddy Ball.
so my football coaches were helping me, because I like groupthink.
Mhm.
They have no idea about most of the other sports, like almost no one in there. And I was like, hey, how is Ovi's assist and goal total only at 1? Like higher, lower? And there was a half for goals scored. I was like, oh, fool's gold. Lower, baby, lower. Yeah, this dude hit the game winner, make it 4-3, sent everybody home. How much fried chicken can you eat? And I'm like, yeah, that's why it's very hard to do.
A decent amount. I like fried chicken.
You should just track my results. It's hilarious.
That's all right. We'll get better at it. You know?
But I think they're tired of giving me coins. So
we'll learn. We'll
I
figure it out.
definitely need to redo that deal because it has been incredible.
Yeah.
It's just fun.
I also feel like I'm going to, NBA higher lowers are going to be my sweet spot.
Okay.
That's where I'm going to be good.
So why do I give you my phone?
Yeah.
My temperament can't handle all the information on my phone. I want to look at it on my computer.
You need a little bigger screen to kind of decipher
Dude,
everything.
it's a lot.
It is.
How am I supposed to know if Russell the Love Muscle is going for 14.5 rebounds, total assists?
You got to Da Vinci code that thing, just have it go all
I don't
over.
have the temperament.
Beautiful Mind it.
It's a great show.
Beautiful Mind?
Yeah, big Jennifer Garner guy. Not Garner.
Conley.
Conley.
Yeah.
Yeah. She didn't age well, but it's not her looks. It's just I like her as an actress.
No, yeah, she's a good actress. I like her.
Oh, yeah. What do you no.
She's talented.
Okay.
I think she's good. She's a good actress. I also a big Russell Crowe guy because Gladiator.
Yeah, I'm Team Crowe.
You know?
Although, have you seen it was super predictable, but Unhinged?
Uh-uh.
Yeah, don't watch that. You will
That doesn't sound like it's up my alley.
You will not be a Russell. Well, you are. I mean,
no, I might be unhinged, but it doesn't sound like the kind of movie I want to watch.
Yeah, it was not one of his better roles.
I am very excited for Gladiator 2 in a couple weeks, though.
Yeah. Why? So you can see minorities?
No,
it's exciting.
I
Roman era?
see minorities all the time. Sit next to you every day. What's up?
I'm black and I'm hoping.
No, I just like Gladiator.
No, I'm good.
I'm excited.
No coming back. Oh, I think we should go to the phone.
Let's talk to Mike. Who wants to talk about?
How on earth can you do that?
Let's talk about 5-star QBs.
Wow.
Mike, can we get Mike up here?
Yes.
What's going on?
Hi, Mike.
Yeah.
Mike, how you feeling, buddy?
Hey, guys. I'm doing better, thanks.
Good. Sounds strong.
Yeah.
Good. What's up?
Hey, how are you doing? You guys doing well?
Yeah, hanging in there. What hasn't been too bad of a week. Doing all right.
Yeah, I had this thought last week, and it's still been percolating. We get the quarterback in, this 5-star recruit decides to come to Nebraska. His dad's an All-American here, and his uncle works on the staff, and rules praised him upside and down in his preparation each week. but I wonder if you paint yourself in the corner with that. In that, I still go back. I can't remember what year when Nick Saban in the championship game took his starting quarterback out in the middle of the game and put a true freshman in to change the dynamics of what was going on in that game. I had the thought, sometimes I would think, Raiola, he's done all this training to be a quarterback, but sometimes I wonder if we need a football player at quarterback instead of a quarterback at quarterback.
So, Mike, you're not.
That makes any sense.
It does, and you're not a panic guy, and you obviously know the position. But so, how much of that do you think? You think Nebraska kind of rushed to make sure they capitalized on his talent?
Yeah, I think they pigeonholed themselves on offense because of that. They're almost afraid to go outside of what his talents are to make that offense effective beyond that early part of the year. And I sometimes I think, Damon, sometimes you need that warrior at quarterback, the kid that's played. I don't know this, and maybe you do and I don't. I wondered if Raiola ever played both sides of the football in high school.
Oh, you're talking about like at a mentality standpoint. Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
I got you.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me chew on that.
Just a thought.
All right.
Just a thought. So.
Appreciate it. Hope do well, Mike. Hoping for the best.
That's an interesting thought.
It is.
Because
he's a very high football level mind. You're talking about like just a grinder, toughie, find a way to do it kind of guy.
So I think there was half of this is me trying to be like you. I'm eating the meat and I'm spitting out the bones. Okay, because I agreed with half of what he said.
Listen, you recognize what he's doing this morning, right?
What am I doing this morning?
He's using your lines. Yeah,
it's more than that.
That was
like
genuine.
I think he thinks he's fooling me.
No,
but
that was genuine.
You and me are vibing, right? Like we know.
Vibing.
Okay, all right.
That was genuine. I'm being serious here.
No.
So
no.
I agree. I agree that maybe they've pigeonholed themselves offensively. I said this maybe a month ago.
Like a rush to capitalize on. Yeah. Okay.
And I think I said this about a month ago. The offense that I think they should be running, and I don't know if they've got the people to do it or not, or whether that's coaches or players, I don't know, is the offense that Jim Harbaugh ran with Andrew Luck at Stanford. Like this pro style, run heavy, like a lot of under center, I formation stuff we were talking about with Tim Verghese, tight end heavy stuff where you can take advantage of the guy's talent, but I think a lot of the temptation with a guy with Raiola's talent is it's hard to control yourself sometimes, right? As an offensive coordinator, as a play caller, because you're like, oh, he can do this and he can do that and he can do whatever. It's like that may not be what's best for him or for you, right? Just letting his talents run wild. That may not be what's best. Where being a little bit more tempered, a little bit more controlled, maybe is in everyone's best interest. They won a lot with Andrew Luck at Stanford doing that. Yeah. And everybody's like, hey, why aren't they throwing the ball more? Why aren't they?
I definitely think Dylan would appreciate like lightening the load.
Yeah. I think they maybe gave
So I don't know. But I do kind of think, God, I have to say this quick, but I do think there was kind of this rush to take advantage of his talents. But as it's unfolded, I do think he'd be totally cool with getting a little more help conventionally. Offensively.
Let's stick with this because there's the other half of his comment that I maybe have a little bit of a problem with. We can talk about that coming up next on Hurrdat Sports Radio.
We will be back. We will be back. We will be back. We will be back. You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Radio.
Welcome back to Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill, where in a couple weeks you can come see us and do another live breakfast. Hopefully DB's kid doesn't eat his sandwich this time when he takes it home, but you'll be able to eat your sandwich here live before the Wisconsin game a couple weeks from now, Friday, 21st.
Like normal people?
Yeah, like normal people. You just not wait 12 hours to eat your food. I get it, though. I appreciate the commitment to it.
Although that Friday, gosh, if we handle business, I'll either – so one way or another, we won't be playing. Either
so you might be able to eat it.
We'll have gotten beaten or we won't play until that following Monday.
Yeah, so you might have time to eat that before Micah gets to it.
Yeah.
But you can come hang out with us, go to Eventbrite, search for Hurrdat Sports Radio and RSVP.
Zoe's vibing with the tots.
Yeah, the tots are good.
She said they don't taste burnt.
No, the tots are good. The bacon's
well,
good.
Well, whose tots do you think taste burnt?
I think she was calling you out, man.
I don't make tots.
I think she's calling you out. Make sure you also don't forget you can register to win some tickets to that game from Tickets for Less, our partner on that one there. So make sure you go check all that out. Eventbrite.com is where you look it up. But Mike brought up some interesting points in the last segment, his call. And the first one we tackled was kind of whether or not Nebraska had pigeonholed themselves with Dylan Raiola and kind of feeling like they had to take advantage of his talent right away.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that he brought up, which I'm going to push back on a little because I agreed with the first part. Second part, he's talking about, hey, do you want kind of more of a football player at that position than you want a guy that's been groomed to play the position? And here's my issue there. Kind of felt like that's what Nebraska had with Heiner Carberg last year.
So, yes and no. No, actually, it's no.
Okay.
So, I think this is what I hear. I don't know. This is just funny because we both heard the same words.
And processed it differently.
So, I heard, and instead of being so quarterback-y, just do whatever it takes. That's what I heard.
I heard that too, but when I heard...
Because you know what I think he's saying?
Yeah.
Hey, run when you need to. Get the couple tough yards. Get down. Like, that's kind of... And maybe I'm hearing what I want to hear.
Maybe.
But that's kind of what I heard. Because I don't think... Sometimes the skill set... Like, do you know... How many grimy, skilled guys do you know?
It's certainly not super common.
Right.
Mostly,
even a Keenan Allen, we say, well, he's got to play that way. He's not as elite level in such and such and such and such.
Yeah. But he's got some elite skills, I think.
Yeah. But I think for the discussion, you know what I'm saying.
Sure. Yeah. No, that's fair. My issue, I still see when you say that, I think Heiner Carberg. And maybe that's just the way I'm processing it because he said, hey, you want more of a football player? Like, has this guy ever played two ways? Like when
I think he thinks like. Do
you have an example of a guy you're thinking about that plays that way at the quarterback position?
Like
the way like you're talking about, that's not a Harburg, but is more kind of a football player, do whatever it takes to get it done. Pavia?
That's a great one, but I was going to give you one right in our backyard. I was talking about what a good athlete is. Like, I love him. He was at UNI. Quarterback, Nebraska. Coach linebackers at UNI just last year. He played quarterback. He had all the touchdowns against Kansas.
For Nebraska?
Yes.
In what year?
It's going to drive me crazy.
I'm trying. I'd have to get an era.
I love the guy. Played softball with him at Marty's place. Gans. Thank you, Travis. Joe Gans. That's who I'm thinking of.
I do love Joe Gans.
That's what I think of with Mike's description. I think of a guy like Joe Gans.
Okay, is the super highest level of this, and maybe I'm overthinking this, but I'm kind of trying to process real time here. Is the highest?
Does that make sense?
I think so.
Yeah, I think Joe. When I'm listening to Mike talk, I think he's describing a guy like Joe Gans.
What about is like the highest version of that like Joe Burrow? Or is he too skilled? Is he too far the other way?
No, I like the Burrow thing.
Because he seems like a guy that's like, hey, we'll figure it out. We'll get it done.
And he's grimy.
Yeah. That's a skilled guy that's grimy.
Yeah. That's good.
Because Burrow's highly skilled.
Yep.
But
But
that's not the thing we talk about with him.
He's highly skilled, but he doesn't have elite level talent.
Sure.
Right?
I'll buy that. I mean,
that's a good one.
You could make the argument that early Brady especially was pretty grimy.
Yeah, I wouldn't say Brady has elite level talent.
I wouldn't either. That's kind of what I mean. Like,
yeah, no,
but
I'm with you.
Grimy guy, found ways to get it done.
So that's what I hear.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I could get on board with that. I would even, we talked about this guy, even though he did have elite level talent, I think, or certainly more so than some of these guys.
That's not, we've had this discussion since we've been following sports.
Yeah.
How many of the highly skilled, super talent, let me say something. Let me say it differently. The highly talented guys. Let's not get into skill.
Yeah, because that's different thing.
Highly talented guys would we consider grimy?
Like Trevor Lawrence, not grimy.
Not grimy.
If he was 20% more grimy, probably has a totally different career.
Lamar Jackson, smidge grimy.
Yeah, but highly talented though too.
Yeah, I know. That's a good.
Like that's a really good combination.
Yes,
that's why he's the.
Yeah,
best,
I'm trying to think of a highly talented guy.
Is Patrick Mahomes grimy?
He has it in him.
He can be, right?
Yeah,
because we don't think of him that way because he does all the cute stuff and whatever. But like he'll do some grimy stuff.
Yeah,
like he'll do like
Mahomes would be interesting.
He's kind of a grimy guy, but highly talented.
Because sometimes what he does is ugly.
Yeah, he does. But that's a find a way to get it done guy, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's an interesting. So that's not what I thought of. I thought of.
Could I convince you of that?
100%. Yeah. That's certainly not where my mind went. Like when and I think it might have been the playing both ways thing. When he said, "Hey, has that guy ever played defense?"
Because you know what I think he's saying? It develops a mindset.
100%. But I would argue most of those guys that we just brought up didn't play both ways either. Like I bet most of those guys never played defense. Not past like Pee Wee. Like in high school and later, most of those guys probably never played defense. If I had to guess.
Yeah, maybe.
Like so, I think that
you know a good one that's people will argue with me about his talent though.
Who?
Anthony Vrzal.
Sure.
Highly talented and was still grimy.
Yeah, I would say I think he's more talented than some people did, at least town evaluators, whatever.
He was super.
But he was grimy before the talent.
Yeah.
Kind of manifested, right?
Yeah, good point.
Because like as a sophomore, like he had some work to do.
He was
good athlete. Some of the quarterback talent wasn't quite there yet.
Yeah.
But he was grimy, so he had. I think is it a late bloomer thing?
Beautiful one here by Corey.
What do we got from Corey?
Check it out. He might be the best example.
Ooh, Josh Allen. So listen to all these guys. Josh Allen.
He might be the best example.
Late bloomer. Patrick Mahomes, kind of a late bloomer still. He was a 3-star coming out.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow, definitely a late bloomer. Lamar Jackson, I don't know if he's a late bloomer, but he was certainly doubted.
Yep.
Who else do we say here? If Rizak ends up being
you're gonna make the case that the earlier you peg guys to be
as a dude,
elite level quarterbacks, the less grimy they're apt to be, for lack of a better term.
Yes, I think that's where I'm landing on this, because you look at some of these, like, okay, who's a guy that
you could convince me?
Who's a guy that's been highly touted early? Like, would you consider Bryce Young grimy?
Nope.
Trevor Lawrence grimy?
Nope.
Tua grimy?
No.
Trying to think of some highly touted guys.
CJ Stroud. No.
I wouldn't call him grimy. Really good.
No.
Not grimy though.
So
I think it's a late bloomer thing.
So I didn't want to pick the low hanging fruit, but DJ said what I was going to say when I said
Tommy.
I was going to say
sure,
but I was like, I don't want the eye roll. I'm so insecure. I didn't even have the confidence to say what I wanted.
Can
to
I
say.
be honest?
Thank you.
I have a really hard time.
Would I have to call him Jay?
You got to call him DJ.
Is that how you think they say it?
I have no idea.
It's just a lot of A's.
DJ.
Jay.
You gotta be. I was just being goofy. Here's where I have a hard time is, I think when you're talking about option quarterbacks, just they all have to be grimy at a certain level, right?
I mean, not everybody can be D. Dallas.
You're just getting hammered though. Like you're getting hit a lot. Like you better.
I'm just trying to get inside what Mike was.
Do you think Crouch was grimy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because that dude took some beatings.
He is incredible. He's probably one of the toughest people I know.
Man, I don't think people understand that is not a big guy.
No, he is
incredibly talented.
He was
but grimy
so
dude.
Tough.
Yeah, really, really tough.
Yeah, I'm a huge. It's not like I just again, and you know me. I don't even like a lot of young players.
Yeah,
I love him.
He's a grimy, tough dude.
Yep.
So that's like, if you're good at running an option offense as a quarterback, I almost think you have to be. I don't know.
So would that help our offense?
A guy that's a little more grimy?
Yeah.
Maybe. But
you can get around it though.
Yes, and a lot of teams do, especially in college. Right? In the NFL, maybe there's less leeway there because it's harder to scheme around some things in the NFL because everybody's so good. In college, you can definitely win at a pretty high level. I don't know if you can win. I mean, obviously, we named a bunch of guys that won national championships that we didn't say were grimy. So you can even win at the highest level in college without that guy.
You see the amazing Daniels?
Ooh, Big Ben?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fair.
Colorado Josh is riding with Big Ben, too. I should have said Big Ben. He's our guy.
K76 Corby Jones.
Grimy. Super grimy, but
yeah,
I wouldn't say super talented.
Yeah, I mean, he was an early dual threat guy, which was kind of made him hard to defend, right?
I bet what he really would say is, you know what? I want a guy that's going to do whatever he has to move the sticks.
I think what we want late bloomers. That's what we want. Late bloomers have a different mentality. Late bloomers have a chip on their shoulder. I think that's what we want. We want the griminess. of the chip on the shoulder. I think that's what we're talking about here. Joe Gans, late bloomer.
Yeah, he popped right to mind.
More Hurrdat Sports Radio coming up next.
We will be back. We will be back. We will be back. We will be back. You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Radio.
Oh, yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
Mike Sautter.
Yeah.
Mike Sautter.
Oh, man, you're going to put me on the spot.
Mike Sautter.
Kicking off hour number 3 here on Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities, KFOR in Lincoln for this third hour. That's DB walking right behind me, trying to cover my eyes like we're children. That's all right. We're here on the Pillar Exterior stage.
God, I can't stand you.
I'm so much meaner than I mean to be.
Just an idiot.
Joining us now is our guy, Mike Sautter. He is busy covering some state volleyball. Sautter, how you doing this morning?
I need about 17 of those C4s.
I just have the
he's
one.
choked down one. I had some.
What? Oh, hold on. Whoa. Damon, what is the kitty cup thing? What is going on?
That's just a cup.
This takes too long to explain.
I have some cups here at the Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill that are for children's meals.
Yeah.
I feel like it would be better if I told the story because I did.
So
this dude is low key.
Am I wrong about what the cups are for?
Technically, no.
Okay, technically no. That means actually no.
Jerome, I didn't know if I was gonna like this. It's Izzy, right? But I wanted to try it because it's sparkling and it was apple.
Yeah.
So in case I didn't like it, short story long, the first cup that I wanted was a kitty cup because I didn't know if I was going to like it. So I just wanted a small deal. And I didn't want to drink out of the can because it had been outside.
And the can's compromised.
And then when I studied the can, it's got some things wrong with it. So then I stopped drinking it altogether.
Can't you just like wipe the can off with like a paper towel or something and drink it out of the can so you don't look like you're my 5-year-old daughter?
Wow. I must have.
I was going to say.
I written all over me. You asked me the same question. It's fine. It's fine.
Mike, how's state volleyball been so far?
Wow. Anybody else? Anybody? Wow.
It's been all right. It's been long days, but it's been all right. So
how are you feeling with the seeds holding, man? It's a little more competitive than I thought.
Volleyball, yeah. Westside losing to Grand Island was a pretty big upset. Like that was a big deal. But I guess when you have Tia Trout, yeah. When you
okay.
That wasn't a shot. I was just saying what happened.
No,
I'm well aware. That was funny.
Tia Trout had 31 kills. I mean, what are you gonna do? She's good.
What are you looking forward to today? I'm sorry.
Today.
So is that's the little media room, right?
This is where the ball shaggers are. Like right as you come out, I just needed a semi-quiet place to be, so I decided this would be the place. And definitely not the media room because it is not quiet in there.
You're right. That's a good point.
Yeah. But no, today, looking forward to watching some football later.
Yeah.
And
why do you say it with hesitation or trepidation or whatever the word is? One of those.
I've just lived in this building this week, so I need something different to do. Is all I'm saying. Yeah.
4 days, the attention span is shot.
Yeah, I mean, I was here Monday for Husker basketball all day, from 11 to 11, and then the last 2 days here. So I'm struggling a little bit right now. And, I still haven't had a soda since May 31st. So I'm really, struggling because normally I just pound some caffeine. And,
I bet you're even more enjoyable to be around. That's great.
Hey, I was listening to you guys on the way here about the enjoyable to be around people than and your friends and stuff, and I was like, I'm probably in that vein a little bit.
100%. Zero redeeming qualities where I get done being with you or talking to you, and I was like, I feel better about myself.
Yeah, it's okay. Depends on the day. Sorry, I'm in your room, guys. Sorry, I need to do this stuff. Yeah.
You're good.
Oh, he wasn't offering to move. He was just like, "Yeah, I'm in your room."
Dude, you're a trip.
Stop. Back to volleyball. Scott almost losing was gonna be a thing,
so that
right?
They went 5 sets in the quarters, right?
Right. Yeah. So tonight they play Waverly. So they play Waverly football and volleyball, which kind of stinks because they're basically at the same time. So they're, like crowd fans, like where do you do crowd, fan bases stuff. So
when this is all said and done, where will Coach Saunders belong in the pantheon?
She's already the GOAT, in my opinion.
I mean, she's the standard from.
I mean, she is the pantheon.
The girls.
Yeah.
I'm talking about in the state of Nebraska's coaching pantheon.
Across all sports.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, even if you look back to not even the coaching thing, she won a national title as a player, volleyball player. Oh, and by the way, she played basketball too at Nebraska. So, like, some of that, coaching-wise, like, they're going for their 10th straight state title tomorrow. I mean, like, if they win tonight. That's doesn't happen, like, ever, right? So, yeah, I mean, she'd have to be in the conversation.
I love her as a like, she's just...
Oh, she's awesome.
Well, especially now, like, this is, like, volleyball is highly competitive in this state.
It's hard. Oh,
like,
yeah.
it's not like, I mean, what was it? Papillion La Vista in softball back in the day ran off a ton of state titles in a row. And, like, Nebraska's become a really good softball state, but I can maybe argue at the time the rest of the competition hadn't quite caught up to them yet. Like, that's not really the case in volleyball, right? Like, it's highly competitive.
Right, yeah. And Norris, if I'm being honest, and I think if you ask Coach Saunders this, Norris, a couple of these last 5 years, well, 3, Norris has maybe had the better team, like, and they still beat them. So I think that is, maybe something. So I do feel, she's.
Do you think they have any dominance discussion between wrestling and volleyball?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Wrestling got 11 in a row, right?
12, I believe.
Oh, 12.
Yeah. Coach Hildebrandt, had 12, and then they, missed a year. They got like runner-up, and the sky was falling one year. So then they came back last year. So yeah, I believe it's 12.
Yeah, it was falling.
Yeah, runner-up, state title runner, or state tournament runner-up, and it was like, oh my gosh, what is happening? So yeah, they probably do. I would say. I would say that was it. So,
what are you looking forward to tonight? Let's start with volleyball. Let's stay with volleyball.
Yeah, I did like Waverly Scott. I mean, it's been a collision course for Norris and Scott to reach the final kind of all year, and Elkhorn North and Waverly will stand in their way. And oh, by the way, those programs have been pretty good too. Papio South, Millard West. Papio South is the clear favorite. They were last year, got upset in the first round, if you remember. Grand Island taking out Westside really kind of opens things up. And Elkhorn South, as far as seed upset, I guess they beat the 3 seed Fremont, but in my opinion, not that big of an upset. So if Tia Trout can go on a heater again, can Grand Island make it? And then Papio South, Millard West is interesting, but I think Papio South's been kind of the best team in A basically all year. And then C1 is Minden is the best and has been the best all year. And D2, Lincoln Lutheran is clearly the favorite in C2. And then D1 right now, they're playing right now, Southwest and EMF, and then Layton, which is not a town. They're playing Central Valley right now, and Layton is up 11-6, and Southwest is up 14-9. So, true story. If you didn't know that, Layton is not a town. It is two towns with the same name together.
I am cheering for Layton.
Yeah,
not because of your daughter's name, but because I have a hockey cohort in our stream that is a Layton guy.
Our guy AA Ron.
Yeah. My daughter's name spelled the different way, but that's okay.
Stefan Edberg, soft as a batch of cookies type tennis guy. What are you looking forward to tonight in football, Jerome?
I'm really curious about Omaha North, Elkhorn South. I think that game could be like a 17-14, 21-14 type of thing. Like, who's going to be able to run the ball?
And can I ask you something and take my Homer hat off?
Yeah.
Okay. I've thought about this for like 3 weeks because we talked about him in the off season. When is the last time you remember somebody being so good in all 3 phases of the game, but kind of not getting his due publicly at a very well-known school as Omaha North as Darian Jones?
Yeah, Darian. Yeah, I knew where you're going with that one. That's a great question because the Papio High game where he had a pick 6 and a touchdown, and I think he had another interception and a long punt return and like all those things.
The closest I can think of to really good and all that impacted all 3 phases was obviously Caleb,
Right.
but he got his run.
Yeah,
like he got his due.
You know, here's a guy, and you know this guy really well. I can't remember if, oh my gosh, I just blanked on the name.
That's cool.
Receiver, Omaha North, played college football.
You're talking about Zion.
No,
Marquise.
before that, Marquise.
Yeah, Lewis.
Yeah, Lewis. There it is. Yeah,
he's really good. He was at our game a couple weeks ago.
Is it that kind of thing? Now, I will say this, Darian, when he camps and stuff, his is coming. It's coming. I believe that because I think his body type and his frame, you're going to add weight on that. People will fall in love with that. He's going to be athletic enough. You put the tape on, all those things. He'll be good. I mean, when
he goes to camp, he's not going to let people cut him in line either.
Is that
yeah.
That dude's going to go get his reps.
Yeah.
Is that just an offers issue where like the general public, if a guy doesn't have the big time offer yet, just doesn't dial in quite the same?
I think he flies under the radar
because he just got the SDSU offer recently, right?
Oh,
And that was the first one. Like I don't know. I feel like sometimes if you're not super dialed in to high school and you kind of are more of a casual high school football fan, if the guys don't have the offers, I think sometimes it's hard to look at him and be like, oh yeah, that's a really good guy.
Or if you're a casual recruiting analyst that plays as a high school football fan.
So far this cycle, Jerome, I think recruiting is much more stringent. I mean,
way more. Yeah, it's not close.
It has not been as jovial, and maybe we're just coming off a good bumper crop the previous year, but the scrutinizing is at a high level. I mean, I'm getting some pushback on like some of these guys locally, like Marion and Keenan, and
Marion's a good player.
I'm like,
Keenan's a really good player.
I'm not gonna. I'm like, I said to the school, I'm like, have you seen him in person?
Yeah,
because either one of the do
you think this is a roster limits thing? Like they're having to ratchet down a little bit?
Jerome, you may have some insight into how you feel about that, but I think the comps that they're using are extremely difficult.
Yeah, it's
like trying to price the home on the housing market and you don't have a ton of comps, but
yeah,
you can't look at and I told this coach, yes, I'm like, you can't look at AJ's production this year and think he's not as good as he was a year ago.
No, they got 18 receivers.
He's playing with like 7 other good players.
Yeah, like
and he's playing both ways this year.
And he plays a quarter and a half. Like you know what I mean? Like
they're never playing into the second half ever.
But then I feel bad as a coach, and because if I have to like convince you, it's probably not meant to be anyway. But sometimes I just shake my head.
Yeah, you don't want to like have to talk somebody into something.
I want to just say, you're worried about Keenan's height? Like, watch the tape.
Yeah, just watch it.
Just watch the tape. You got any other small guys?
So yeah. Sometimes sometimes we go too hard into measurables instead of measuring
they play football.
The production. Yeah, like are they a good football player? Because Amarion Jackson is a really good football player, and oh, by the way, he's playing both ways this year, which is rare, right, nowadays. so that probably takes a little bit. And they added more pieces, like Lofton is their leading receiver, and like
guys, my favorite, whether it's Darian, whether it's Keenan, whether it's a lot of these guys in the Metro, and certainly AJ, you won't have to babysit him. Like, I can't stress that enough. If you want guys that are going to compete every day, regardless of what's going on around them, you better start there, because it's hard. It's hard, powerful. It's a hard sport, and you got to be willing to lay it on the line.
Well, that's why you like Jalen, right?
That's
the first thing you told about me. He's like, not gonna have to babysit.
I said, they can talk about all these other receivers in this class. The one thing you don't have to worry about with Jalen Lloyd, he's going to compete. He is. Yeah. You don't have to worry about it. This dude's going to work.
And Nebraska has guys right now at that receiver position.
And he's going to ride, and he'll wait it when
he'll wait it out and come out the other side.
When this stuff is over this year, Lloyd's going to be right there.
Like, they have receivers now that aren't playing that you have to babysit. So you might as well take, guys that you don't, that are super productive.
I just think recruiting this cycle around, like, that's what they would be about. Right? Guys that are going to stay the course with NIL and guys like pay for play. Like, you want guys that'll be pot committed.
Correct. And not just happy to be there.
No.
Yeah.
Mike,
that's why you offer Owen James yesterday.
Yep.
Yeah.
Any chance here as we look at some of the games going on tonight? Any chance here for Miller North to keep this thing close? Even
he's not going.
No, I'm going to go to West Side.
Like, what kind of alum is this, Jerome?
I think
let's pick on Ravi time now, because
hey, Ravi, I'm gonna call Behringer and tell him he needs to give the gear. You need to give the gear back.
Yeah, give it back.
Hey,
Ravi.
I ride for Miller North harder than anybody. I'm just trying to go see a competitive game. I don't know that Miller North, Miller South is gonna, unless you can talk me into it.
Well, Caden Vermas is gonna have to have a huge night.
I loved his attitude Saturday in Lincoln.
Cade?
Yeah.
He's grown on me a lot.
Me too. But I kind of always
liked him because he's a Miller North guy, but I didn't know about the mentality. I didn't know some of where he might have fit just on a football field, stuff like that. He's grown on me a lot this last year and a half.
Yeah, I always go talk to him. It's like he lives in Lincoln.
He's a super mature kid too.
Maybe that's what I vibe with.
Yeah.
It was big boy talks.
Yeah.
He like breaking down this game and the mentality and like what it would take to pull this upset off. He's a smart kid.
You'll know, I guess, tonight if it's a close game or not if I'm there past halftime, because I plan on being there for the first half, and then either staying or pivoting to go to what might be a close game.
For South and North.
Well, okay, so my game plan is volleyball during the day here today, and then McCook at Bennington because it starts at 6 for the first half, and then go the South Millard North game because it starts at 7, half, maybe stay, maybe don't. And then my game plan right now is to leave Millard South or Buell at halftime and go to Omaha North, Elkhorn South, because I think that one could be real close late. And now I could pivot, and if Waverly and Scud is close, I could run over there. Or if
it's probably more advantageous to go to Scud because it's closer.
Yeah, I'm looking for the best game. I don't care. I drive. I don't know if you know this, but my car is kind of like a helicopter, and I can get places pretty quick.
I don't even know what that means.
No, he's not afraid. What he's basically saying is, dude, he'll put his foot on the gas and it's wherever. This dude will be in Arapahoe.
We'll get there. Like we'll find a way to make it happen. So or maybe even like if Papio can run the ball enough to hang in with Westside, maybe I'd show up there late. Like I'm just gonna kind of pivot in the moment. That's what I like to do in the playoffs anyway. Is just kind of.
We've been talking this run game at Nebraska for, 8 weeks now. I'm so tempted to just go through our game plan of defending Papio against the run. It is simply not, hey, don't let the guys up front block you, stop the run. Like they do like 4 different things.
Mm-hmm.
It may look the same, but it's a headache. Right? It's like it's hard. And I think we kind of need a tutorial on that.
They're also big, right? Like Papio's big up front. I know you guys just play them week 8.
They're creative.
Yeah, that was week 8. That was 3-4 weeks ago. You guys just played them. Coach Williams will come up with some sort of gimmicky something.
We need to control our emotions. That's the number one thing for us. Everybody's like, we need to stay in the moment. Just play ball. That's it. Play ball.
Yeah, don't worry about all the other, right? Like just kind of stay in it and you'll be fine. I am worried a little bit about weather tonight, but
I don't know what's it supposed to do.
Oh, it might rain late. It's going to rain out west. Like Kearney, Bellevue West is going to have some rain.
How hard will points be to come by in that one?
I think pretty hard. And Kearney's been good all year. I think, going out there, Kearney's good. It will. I can see it happening. Is if Kearney wins, people are like, oh man, they beat Bellevue West and no one believed in us type stuff. No, we all believe in you, Kearney. Like we know you're good. You've been good all year. You're the higher seed. All those things. You're expected to win this game. So let's not pull the upset card or whatever, because that wouldn't be the case.
Coach Huffman kind of relies on that QB run game, and he's figuring some things out at the running back spot. I mean, Shoki may have 16 tackles.
Yeah.
This is a game that's kind of tailor made for
him.
Grimy. It could, like we keep saying grimy all show. Like that one's gonna be, I think, pretty low scoring.
Bellevue West is going to have to hit a shot or two with Jermaine Green. They just have to.
Where's Ben?
I don't know. That's a great question. Like he's the deep ball threat. You're going to have to find a way to get him the ball. Take a shot. Just take a chance that he can go up and make a play or run by someone. Just throw it. Like just chuck that thing and see what happens once in a while. But that one I think could be pretty low scoring, like a 21-17-14 type of thing. The one game before we get out of here is that I think could be very interesting is C2 and it's Central City Lakeview.
100%. I'm praying
Lakeview all year.
He loves Lakeview. I love City. If the weather holds, they may score
a zillion.
Yeah. 90 between the two.
Yeah. Mike, appreciate it as always. Have fun down in Lincoln, and I'm sure we'll run into each other later. We will talk to you then.
Be safe, Jerome.
All right. See you.
More Hurrdat Sports Radio coming up next.
We will be back. 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 You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Radio.
We're back here on Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities, KFOR, and Lincoln. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. It's time for Bet On It, brought to you by Warhorse Sportsbook. Warhorse Sportsbook, no bets, no glory. Make sure you get out to the casinos in Nebraska or Lincoln. You can place your sports bets live and in person at the casinos. Also, make sure you download the app because they got a little bet builder on there. You can put it all together. You just walk right in, scan that QR code. You are good to go. Warhorse Sportsbook is the place to be. D. Bizzle.
I have a question.
What's up?
If I want to say it won't be due to, like, lack of whatever, is it D-O or D-U-E?
It won't be due to?
Yeah.
D-U-E.
All right.
Is that all?
Yeah.
Okay. I got some games I want to talk about.
Me too.
What? College or NFL? Where do you want to start?
I'm not telling.
Okay, I'm going to start college then. If that's okay.
It's fine.
Is that all right with you?
Yes.
You seem very hurt right now. You going to hit me? You going to hit me?
I was like...
You seem very hurt right now. Are you going to...
One of these days,
I want you to go through what Dylan went through by getting hit in the kidney.
One of these days, you're
just like your whole lower body can like shut down.
You're just gonna pop me.
Now that was tough.
Yeah.
That was a shot he took.
Well, we've seen that in boxing before, right?
Yeah, you get buckled.
And then people who don't really know what they're watching or like, oh, he took a dive. It's like, nope, that's a kidney shot.
Roy Jones, Virgil Hill.
Sometimes takes like 30 seconds, sometimes takes like 3 minutes, and then your body's just like, we are done
De La
here.
Hoya took one from Bernard Hopkins.
Just shut it down.
Yep.
There's a couple stinky lines out there in college this week.
Oh, what do we got? What do we got? Operation Stinkville.
Number one stinky line for me. We have number 17, Iowa State, 7-1, going to Kansas, 2-6. Iowa State is only a 3-point favorite to stinky Kansas.
Yeah.
That line stinks to high heaven.
Yeah.
So here's the $1 million question. Do they know something, or is it free money?
I would take the Jayhawks.
I'm taking Iowa State.
Go ahead.
I want Iowa State.
That would be a Brian Edwards play, because if it looks too good to be easy, I'm usually the other way.
I want to take the free money, and you're like, what do they know?
Yeah.
Usually, right?
Yeah.
That's what you were doing yesterday with the Raven. You're like, -6 should be -9. Something stinks here.
Yeah, they wanted you to take the
And
Ravens.
I was like, just give me the over.
Yeah. Safe as a kitten you were.
Come sail away with me.
Yeah.
Another stinky line.
Now, what I want you to do with those winnings you made is go buy me a fish sandwich for tomorrow, not today.
What do you want a fish sandwich for?
I just craving a
fish sandwich?
Yeah.
I told somebody that you were like a Long John Silver's guy, and they were mortified.
I know. So remember,
I think it was Natasha. I think it was
now,
Natasha.
Full disclosure,
yeah,
it needs context. I was ashamed to say it out loud.
You were. I didn't
even want to say it on air.
And I'll go like once a year. He'll go and just spend like $30 there.
Yeah.
And then won't go back for another year.
Yeah.
It's like your secret shame.
Yeah. I didn't want to say it out loud. I was like, do you know what restaurant I low-key like?
It's all right. You just got to own it. That's okay.
Yeah, take the Jayhawks.
Robbie. I'm not. I'm taking the free money. I'm taking Iowa State.
I'm not.
You know another line that is stinky.
All right.
Couple of former Big 12 teams here. Oklahoma at Missouri. Oklahoma, famously not that good at football this year. Sorry, T-Mos. Missouri, a little bit.
Oh, he's been out. He cares.
Not a Venables guy.
Yeah.
Missouri, pretty decent at football this year.
Mm-hmm.
6-2. They are ranked at home. Guess what? They're a 3-point dog to the Sooners.
Yeah.
So you're taking the Sooners because you're like, they know something.
100%.
I'm taking Missouri because I'm like, hey, that line stinks to high heavens.
Yep. So far, I am Team Danny Manning in the Miracles and my man Shu Kennedy. KUNOU.
Ooh. Was that Cynthia?
No, I think that's Jess.
Oh, it is.
How mad was
No,
she?
that was Cynthia.
Was it Cynthia?
Nailed it.
Ooh.
We were probably talking about Detroit. Jeez.
No, it was that I asked a good question.
Oh, that's right. It was unusual. That's why she was so caught off guard by it.
Yeah, great question.
That great question, that was to me. Did you know that from Coach Manning? He was like, hey, good question, Ravi. Let's get to some of these other ones here today. Another line that's a little stinky. Team I like a lot. Can you guess which one it is?
Florida State.
No. That line's not big enough.
Was it
26.5? You can make that 100.
Wow.
Wow. Dude, that team sucks. I don't know what to tell you.
Ravi here for being out on FSU.
That team is terrible.
Who is it?
My guys, Kalani Sitake, BYU, -3. I know it's the Holy War. BYU's a lot better than Utah.
How is Utah going to score?
That's my point. That team is a lot better than Utah.
I would run, don't walk, because number one,
-3. I'm taking that all day.
Utah might be the single greatest disappointment in college football this year.
Yeah, 100%.
Now, a lot of it has been due to injury, but there have been few teams less disappointing or more disappointing than Utah.
And nothing that they wanted is still on the table.
But you have to be extremely careful with those games.
Yeah, especially that one. That there is. You think there's animosity in some of these rivalry games. That one's bad.
Yeah.
And so that's the only thing that gives me any hesitation. I just think BYU's way, way better than Utah this year. I want that -3. Not as stinky.
You love these guys. I'm surprised you haven't gotten to this.
Who?
And maybe you will.
My honkin' for Monkin?
Their counterpart.
Navy.
Yes.
Ooh, what's the line on that one? I don't have it on my sheet.
Just a small fave. -3 at 4-4 South Florida.
Yeah, give me Navy. Give me Navy on that one.
Does that seem?
It seems stinky.
Seems a little low.
Seems a lot low because Navy's good.
Yeah.
Navy's very good. Outside of that,
they may be reeling a little bit.
I mean, outside of that whooping that they took at Notre Dame, but Notre Dame's pretty good. I don't think there's a ton of shame there. The other one, I do want to talk about Army. Even though we're not sure on the status of Bryson Daly yet, -4 feels like free money against North Texas. I know North Texas is okay, but Army's winning that game.
Kind of like North Texas.
I mean, you're going to be wrong a lot this week.
Who's playing quarterback?
Doesn't matter.
Wow, just defiant.
Doesn't matter.
How is Minnesota only 6 at Rutgers?
Jeff Monken, that's my guy.
We gonna
Minnesota -6. I mean, that's one of those.
Minnesota was favored at Illinois.
I understand that, which was stinky, and you were right on that one. But
you say that a lot.
Nah, not that much. I try not to. I try to avoid it as much as possible.
I'm gonna give you another one.
Which
too.
one?
You like home dogs?
Sometimes. Depends on who it is.
I think Texas Tech has got it figured out.
Ooh, Colorado -4, Texas Tech.
They will beat Colorado.
They are on my list. That game is on my list. Is interesting.
They will beat Colorado.
I think that's a stay away for me.
Is it?
Yeah, just because
Come stay away. Come stay away. Come stay.
I think it's sail away.
Yeah, whatever.
We're close, though. That's all right. Big sticks guy, huh?
No.
Not a big sticks guy?
Roboto, that one.
Domo Arigato?
Yeah, that one.
Mr. Roboto?
Stop it.
I will not stop it.
Do you want to get to Kurt quick?
That's a stay away for me. Real quick before we get to Kurt. I want 2 games. Georgia -2.5 Ole Miss.
Give me the Bulldogs.
Alabama -2.5 LSU. That one's tough. I think that's the toughest game of the week to figure out. First time game day's been at LSU in 5 years.
They're so bad defensively.
I don't trust the makeup of. I don't trust the mentality of Alabama.
Reluctantly, I'll take the Crimson Tide.
Give me LSU in that one. I want the home.
I tell you, if Alabama loses, you better go check on your boy.
Hey, I'm happy if he ends up somewhere else.
You better go check on your boy because he is not getting any help from the Paul Feinbaums of the world.
Give me Ole Miss +2.5 and LSU +2.5. Give me the plus money or the plus points on the road. Let's get to Kurt real quick. That was Bet On It, brought to you by Warhorse Sportsbook. No bets, no glory. Get to warhorsecasino.com for more details and a full list of house rules. Kurt, what's going on, bud?
Not much. How you guys doing?
Kurt, what's up, buddy? How we doing?
Hey, I got a question.
Okay.
When was the last time Nebraska had a quarterback whose skill set would be described as pass first, run second? Because we have tried running different offensive schemes that had quarterback run game in it, but then when we have to pass, that aspect of the offense was lacking, and it killed us in whatever. I'm just wondering, until we got Raiola, have we really had a pass first quarterback?
I mean, you have to probably go with Gans or Taylor.
So you got to go back to Callahan. You got to go back to Callahan, I think.
That's what I was thinking.
It's been a while. So you think? So we're just suffering from not knowing what to do with it, right, Kurt?
Right.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
There might be something to that.
There's, I mean, what do we say? Sometimes you don't know how to handle good things or handle nice things.
You got to be able to receive nice things.
And listen, I get it hasn't always been perfect, and there's some struggles that need figured out for sure. But part of it is maybe we're just not used to how it looks.
Yeah, I need to get used to that.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. Always got to get used to our next guest, Matt Vrzal, as we wrap up the show here on Hurrdat Sports Radio. Coming up next.
We will be back. will be back. We will be back. We will be back. You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Radio. Now let's find out what Matt Vrzal is better at, telling stories or making pizza.
Matt.
Matt's an exceptional young man.
Matt Vrzal.
Happy birthday, Matt.
You know, Matt, he's a tremendous athlete.
Matt Vrzal.
Come on, Matt, I'm with you.
You know, like Matt Vrzal, you're one of the sexiest people in the world, but you're not one of the most beautiful. How does that happen?
Here is Matt Vrzal.
All right, Matt, thank you very much.
Wrapping up the show and wrapping up the week here on Hurrdat Sports Radio, like we always do, with our guy Matt Vrzal, former Husker owner of Paisan's Pizzeria. Verz, what's going on, man?
Not much, boys. How we doing?
Matty, how we doing, babe?
We're above the dirt.
Yeah.
For a couple hours.
What time did you get in?
3:30.
Yeah. Whew. The standard.
The standard for Friday. Yep. Up through Thanksgiving.
Do you think you will it probably not on,
I hope so. Sorry.
No, you're not. You're not the odds of you getting out on a Friday night are probably slim to none. But if you could, is there anybody that you want to see that you think you may have to be prepared for a broadcast?
Oh God, that's a great question. If you're inviting me to your game, yes.
Well, no, you've been you're one of the few. You've been asking me for a handful of weeks to kind of get an idea, and I'm like, well, we're so far out, and you're
I just go covert ops on those.
I got to be prepared, and I just was like, well, cool, man, I like that.
I go covert ops on them. You go. Thankfully, kids are they're trying to get the word out for themselves. You can go on Huddle and you can find a lot of stuff on X and kind of go through there. So I think I'm on Instagram, but I don't go on there. So I don't know about that. But yeah,
I need
just
to learn
now how I do it
better too. I just creep. I don't post anything. I closet stalk. That's about it.
It's a little creepy, but okay.
Well, I mean, don't you like to like? I like to cook. They got
you're saying you just find
recipes.
I got you.
It's like no, you
what are you
don't.
guys doing today? What's going on in the Hurrdat world?
I don't even like the way you're looking at me. So let's just start with that right there.
It's the only face I got, bud. I'm gonna change that.
We're doing all right today. DB's feeling a little sensitive today. He feels like I'm picking on him a lot.
That's a little bit of an exaggeration. It needs context.
Somebody in their feels.
No, see,
not you, him.
Thank you. Because I'm clear.
He should be happy as a pig in slop. You got basketball happening, and you played University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley State, Southwest. And
I am happy. Thank you for thinking of me. Women's sports is alive and kicking. I'm a big Coach Williams fan. And what else?
How they gonna be?
I think they'll be pretty good.
Yeah.
I think she's got some depth. They got good size. Conference will be tough though. And my favorite starts tonight. Nebraska wrestling starts. We talked to Coach Manning this morning.
Nice. How was Manning?
Awesome.
He's great. Yeah.
Isn't he something?
He's great. We get to see Snyder every now and then. His little guy, Gus, is starting like little guy wrestling, so he'll come over and get pizzas for their outfit, and Snyder's awesome too.
Wait, he's that old already?
Oh, yeah. Well, Gus isn't very big. And I mean, when you're born into a wrestling family, I think you start at like 2 months. And shoulder, elbow thing. You're shooting singles by the time you go to preschool.
Snyder's a great dude too, man. They've been able to recruit pretty well too.
They do a really nice job.
They kind of did a reset last handful of years.
It's kind of funny, like everything but our sport is kind of a wagon, like volleyball is. And they go on the road and just demolish people.
Yeah, they're interesting too because
we need to shoot more TikToks. Maybe the boys need to do more TikToking.
Isn't that crazy though? How he's kind of evolved. I watch him do these. I watch Coach Cook do these TikToks with like Harper and those guys. I'm like, life must be good to be Coach Cook, where you're so revered, but you can kind of have fun like that too. Like he's borderline silly.
Well, if you notice,
he said,
it ain't none of the backups that are, hey, like Coach Cook, come shoot this vid with me. That's the predominant. You betcha. Harp, we'll go shoot. What would you like me to do instead? TikTok.
Hey, let's pretend to be riding this horse. Let's dance together.
Amazing. Like back in the day, if T. Fresh would be like, hey, TL, I'm going to shoot TikTok. T. would be like, yeah. And I walk up to him and be like, hey, Coach, I want to shoot TikTok. I'd be like, I don't even know your name, kid. So keep it moving. Amazing how it happens.
Yeah. Hey, so let me ask you something, because people ask you, I think more times than you'd be willing to admit, because it's just the few times you have some humility, but people ask you a lot about he's mad. I'm kidding. I'm kidding, man. I'm kidding. Jeez.
that really
a lot of people ask for your opinion a ton in an advisory role. Hey, come look at this. Hey, come. I do. How many run plays have I given you over the last handful of years? What impact do you think being an overseer, like just a neutral observer, when people just ask you questions, how beneficial is that in this amount of time, do you think?
It matters if the person that you're going to seek the advice from is just honest, right? Like, I think that's, you say that I'm mean to you, but I don't feel I am, because I was raised to just be brutally honest with people, and it's gotten me this far, done what I've done. But to have somebody just say, hey, I think that's a bunch of S. I don't think that's going to work, because I've seen your tape and I've seen your players. I don't think they can do that. And so then that you can, and then also there's a respect on both sides. Like I could tell you that, and you could not respect my opinion. Say, well, he's lost it. He's an idiot. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Or you say, well, I do value what he says, and he's always honest with me. And then, kind of go from there. So it all depends on the relationship of who you're asking that information from. But as long as you got a person that's going to be honest with you, the more people you can get in your life that will be brutally honest with you, the better your life will go. You're welcome.
Verz, when you're talking about kind of, you brought up the personnel and like, hey, I don't think your guys can do this or that. How much of the needing an outside influence is that coaches sometimes do get blinders about who their players are?
Oh man, right into this one.
My man had to change positions in his seat. That is rare.
If you have a good grasp of your locker room and of your playbook, those two should walk hand in hand. It's not difficult. It's not rocket science. If you look at what you got and then you look at your plays and say, okay, can I get this person, which put an offensive line sense, no particular team involved. Can I get this person that is 6'8" to pull or to pass set against the guy that, this guy runs a 5'4", this guy's explosive off the ball running a 4'6". Can I get him in a position to execute this efficiently? Or do I need to get him help? Can I get a chip? Can I get somebody to bump somebody just so we get more time? And again, I'm just putting this in offensive line sense because it's easier for me that way. If I don't, then I have to, and I still want to run that play, then I have to find somebody to help him to do that, to accomplish it. Are we as a unit good at running the ball straight ahead? Can we just base block 1v1, mano-y-mano, and can we go? I have to be able to assess my practice. I have to be able to assess my game film. Then I have to tailor plays in my playbook that fit what we can do. Maybe we're better laterally. Maybe we're more agile left to right. Maybe I got a burner that I can get to the edge and he can walk in the end zone. So I have to, coaches that can't do that aren't coaches very long.
Matt, when you're watching, like, there's always people, actually be a good example. There'll be things that I'll ask you that I probably wouldn't ask anybody else, and not for nothing more than the mere fact that you would be honest, right? Mm-hmm. So how much value in there is that if you're a guy like Coach Snow coming in to talk to Coach Rule with kind of that level of respect, that being 65 and you've been with him at all these stops, where it's not necessarily a fresh set of eyes. It's somebody that can simply compare and contrast because he knows you so well.
It helps. I mean, I don't, if I'm going to look at things like at Nebraska, like I don't really have a lot of issue with the way the defense plays, except for certain players.
What if it's my day-to-day? Like, what if it's just talent evaluation or doing life or practice setup, or like, what if it isn't necessarily even schematics?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it's somebody to look at it and say, hey, I keep noticing this guy doesn't fulfill responsibility, tries to go for big hits that don't need to be big hits instead of just secure tackles. He's not doing what he's supposed to do. Why are you playing him? Like that may be more helpful in it. And I get it. There's a respect and a loyalty that has to go to a certain extent, but loyalty's a two-way street. And so to be loyal, you got to be loyal to the system, loyal to the scheme. I'll be loyal to you as a player. When you start to freelance, you start to do things your way, then my loyalty doesn't have to be very long.
Verz, we appreciate the time as always. Good stuff. Enjoy your bye week, and hopefully you get out of there at a decent time tonight.
Coaches will come over and have beers after the game, so I'll probably be there for a while.
Well, they got a good one. Oof.
Yeah, it should be a head knocker.
Yeah. So who gets there first, football or volleyball? Volleyball won't celebrate. It's Friday, but
volleyball's in Lincoln, yeah. So we don't got to worry about them. We got to worry about them on Saturday.
Worry about them tomorrow. Verz, we appreciate it.
Boost ball will get there about 4. See you, boys.
All right, buddy.
That's our guy, Matt Vrzal. That's the week. Reminding you also, hey, Maybe you're heading into the weekend, a little bit of a weekend warrior, trying to get some workouts in. You don't have the energy you used to. Get over to our guys at Game Day Men's Health. Get a little more energy, a little more recovery, feeling good like me and DBR. Get over to GameDayMen'sHealth.com to schedule an appointment. We'll see you on Monday.
See you. Have a good day. Love you.